Keanu, Van, Velzen, Radek, Saganski, Judge, Cooper, Graham Hall, Scott Taylor, Neil Duff, Nathan Potter,
Jack Drayton,
Chaz Barstow, Simon Stevenson, Jamai van Den Herik.
Half the lineup is set. By the end of tonight's play, we will have our Champions Night lineup. Very good evening to you. Welcome back to Champions Week here at the Modus Super Series. Group C was very dramatic this afternoon. What does Group B have in store? Well, we're about to find out. Paul Nicholson is back for more once again. Have you gotten over that conclusion to Group C yet?
Ask me again on Monday. It was that good that I think when my head hits the pillow tonight, no matter what happens tonight, I'm going to be thinking about that game between Steve Green and Chaz Barstow. It was just incredible.
Carnage ensued this afternoon. Here's what happened.
To the outer ring here.
There's your treble. Tops. That's the kind of start he needed.
Dominators, don't they? Win it, you're still in the race. Lose it, you're very close to the exit door. Double 14 for 1-2-1. Double 14 for 1-2-1.
Graham Hall, that had 7 180s in it. This might have a 164. Nothing but net on that one for Chaz.
All the weights on 83. Green now looking at treble 20, which he finds. Oh my, Steve Green. Play has eluded him slightly. Potter going here, there and everywhere and dispatches 1-4-2. Barstow a poke at 1-6-1. Oh my word.
Oh, what on earth was that? This place has just been shook to its foundations.
And believe it or not, that 1-6-1 from Chaz Barstow wasn't enough. He ended up losing to Steve Green in a last leg decider, and that was the difference. Radek Zaganski got his win. It was 4-2, and Chaz Barstow somehow misses out on Champions Night. Steve Green wins Group C, but Nico, Radek Zaganski through in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, just a bit. So he posts the clubhouse lead, so to speak, for the second position, because by this time, Steve Green had already serenely found his way through to Champions Night. When Radek was 3-0 up and he was on double 16, we all thought he's going to win 4-0. And by doing that, he would have been through no matter what Chaz did in his last match. He misses a couple of shots. Next thing you know, Graham Hall pinches a couple of legs. Then all of a sudden, Chaz just needs to win against Green, who was very vulnerable in his previous match. He wasn't good at all. And we thought, this is all aligning for Chaz. It just didn't work out that way. There was a monstrous 130 checkered from Green, then that unforgettable 1-6-1 from Barstow. But then towards the end, Green was just unbelievable. 11 darter, then a 13 darter to put Chaz on the shelf in this week. I think we've seen something from Green this afternoon that we never expected.
Yeah, Green had already done the hard work yesterday, didn't he? Going 5 out of 5, but it's almost easy to forget that Zaganski lost his first match of this afternoon. He was almost down and out, and that match between Barstow and Green ebbed and flowed, and it was breathless.
Yes, for about 60 to 75 minutes, we were on the edge of our seat. And let's not forget as well, there was a game in the middle of the schedule between Zaganski and Barstow. Barstow did not play very well in that game. Zaganski got the win, and it turns out there are multiple situations that went the way of the poll, and he's the one who has the chance of the jackpot.
Certainly whets the appetite ahead of Group B this evening, doesn't it? Let's take a look at how things stand going in to the final session before Champions Night. Jack Drayton and Simon Stevenson currently leading the way. Drayton on leg difference, the two that dropped down from Group A. We saw battle scars, in particular from Nathan Potter and Graham Hall, I think, but not a jot from Drayton and Stevenson last night.
Not at all. Jack looked in control. Simon was just the tiniest bit streakier last night. His high levels were higher than Jack. His low levels were lower. And Jack was somewhere in the middle all the time. But very impressive from both parties. I just wonder if tonight can live up to this afternoon. I have a sneaky suspicion that it's going to. It looks from the table like it's going to be a 4-horse race for 3 spots. But Keanu van Velzen, even if he doesn't win all of his games tonight and he goes out there with a little bit of free-flowing attitude, he could cause trouble.
Well, he could. He's in 2 of the first 3 games of tonight. But last night, Simon Stevenson puts in an average of 109 against Keanu and then follows that up with a 4-0 defeat to Drayton. No one saw that coming.
Not at all. I was downstairs watching this game whilst you and Henry were commentating on it, and my jaw was on the floor at just how many 140s and big scores and clean hits Simon Stevenson was finding. I know he's been good, but I can't say I can remember a performance like that from him in the time that we've known him anyway. We've known him here at this place for a very short time, but I've known Simon a long time. He's always been good, but 109 good? I think he might be finding another level very recently. But for him to not back that up was as much of a surprise as seeing him average 109.
Let's get an update then to the markets at the halfway stage of Group B. Simon Stevenson, initially the 11-10 favourite, just snipped into even money. Jack Drayton, despite being top, is still the second favourite at 13-10. 8-1 bar. Is there anything that catches your eye there?
100%, and that is Neil Duff at 9-1. You might think that that is accurate because of his previous record in Champions Weeks. He's only made 1. He's won 6 weekly titles. Yes, that jumps off the page. But the most important factor is Neil himself. He's just seen that because they've got a monitor in the practice room about 25 meters from here. The moment he sees that is the moment that the fire is lit. So watch out, everyone.
Let's get this show on the road then. Our opening match of this evening is top against bottom. It's Jack Drayton against Keanu van Velzen. Earlier on this week, I caught up with Jack Drayton about his start in darts. Jack, what came first, darts or golf?
Golf. I've been playing golf since I was 4 or 5 years old.
So when did darts come into your periphery?
I've been playing darts like for a while. I've always had a board up at home, and I used to go to my dad's work and play there and stuff. And then obviously I took it kind of seriously when I went to my first set of dev tours back in the last year, and then just kicked on from there really.
When you won your week here, we were speaking on the stage just before you got your hands on that trophy on debut about transferable skills from golf to darts. I think it's just like the same really. Whatever you take from golf into darts, take from darts into golf. It's just the concentration skills. You got to be really key under pressure, and if you're that, then you're laughing. History tells us debutants can struggle here, but you just seemed right at home straight away. Was there a particular reason as to why? The first set of challenge tours, my game felt really good, and then went into development tours feeling really good. Managed to win 2, and then went into the Isle of Man, had a semis, a quarters, and a win, and then just came into here with full confidence. And I've already had stage experience, so that didn't really bother me. I think it was just getting used to the surroundings and the stuff and the atmosphere. But yeah, just felt right at home. Are you still sort of riding on the crest of a wave then? Has this Champions Week come at a good time for you after those most recent successes? Yeah, I think having big tournaments not far apart, it keeps my game really going. Champions Night, of course, the big night. What would it mean to you to finish Saturday night lifting the big one? Oh, it'd mean everything, mate. Obviously, being on the same kind of trophy as obviously Littler, Manby, all the other young stars and the past stars that have been, doing the hard work here. But yeah, being my name on that trophy with them will mean everything. Here we go then. Night 2 of Group B, the final session before Champions Night tomorrow. Top of the table, Jack Drayton. That huge win over Simon Stevenson, the difference as to why he's top instead of second. Keanu van Velzen had a really tough night last night, but write him off at your peril. In the week he won here, people were writing him off after Group A. They had egg on their face following on from that. Keanu defeating Tommy Morris in a memorable final. Jack Drayton, easy to forget, he's still only 19 years of age, Bossman Jr. Keanu is only 23 himself, and he has a chance, as he plays in 2 out of the first 3 matches here this evening, to put himself back into contention. Group B always has the potential to spring a surprise or two, in particular on Champions Week. Paul Hinks, the legend himself, the third man on the stage this evening. And in the commentary box for the opener, it's Paul Nicholson. And first, Henry Deacon.
Thank you, Sam. Very good evening, everyone. And so for the final time in regulation stage action in Series 13, let's get the action underway. Jack Drayton and Keanu van Velzen kicks tonight off how yesterday finished. And for Jack Drayton, he certainly finished with some kind of a flourish. 6 points from his opening day's worth of play. 2 wins tonight should be enough to see him into Champions Night on his Champions Week debut. But Keanu van Velzen, he's going to have the perfect night if he's going to stand any chance of emulating his brother Marvin and make it through to the biggest night the Super Series has to offer. The asset, Paul Nicholson's alongside me in commentary for this first match of the evening. And for Jack Drayton, it's all about doing his job and doing his job efficiently if he's going to make it through.
Yeah, I think it's a really good thing, Henry, that he's been given this first game. He's got the long shift. We spoke about that last night.
140.
He's got the first game and the last game, and he's got the bigger gaps between fixtures. But there are times in groups like this where you want to play first.
30.
You want to send the first message. And if Drayton can get a second win against KVV, he will be on the top, on points, on his own. And then the pressure
93.
is passed elsewhere.
Well, Jack won this game by 4 legs to 2 last night, averaged just underneath the 90 mark, despite missing 10 darts at a double in that particular contest.
82.
And he's looking at 1-2-8 here after just 3 visits to the board to take out the opening leg. Will stay there, another one of them. Unable to get, but he's got time and space to
88.
routinely hold throw in leg 1.
Wonder how many times you said tops after 12 this week.
16. Jack
Maybe
40.
even in this group. Plenty of times.
Something that Jack Drayton's going to have to
He's
become
on the first
accustomed to
leg, Jack
doing if he's
Drayton.
going in the type of directions we expect him to. 13 data leads 1-0. Looks ever so cool, calm and collected, doesn't he?
Looks like someone who's played multiple sports under pressure and is okay with it. He's more than okay with it.
85.
He actually thrives whilst under pressure. But I can't remember any week that we've had here with such
84.
strong starts in every session. 13 data to start the session. I've lost count of how many times we've had a
58.
180 to start someone's day. These guys really have peaked for the right times.
But when you're in this kind of clientele, Nico, you need to set your stall out quickly. You know better than anybody about that.
Yeah.
81.
In this sport now, you can't be a slow starter. And maybe more so here because it's only best of 7 legs.
As for Keanu, we actually caught him earlier on this
41.
evening. We were leaving the venue, me, you and Sam, to go out for some food in between the afternoon and evening session. We saw Keanu come out of a Italian restaurant, look rather
100.
calm, relaxed about things. I think he's just going to go out there and enjoy himself tonight. Whatever be, will be.
He's already won in this series. Like Sam mentioned, he was written off
100.
in week 2. Nobody expected him to be successful. It was the same this week. Doesn't look like he's going to make Champions Night,
134.
but it feels like he's ahead of schedule. And the experience he's gaining this week is only going to help.
93. Jack 102.
So Drayton here looking at 102 to make it 2-zip. Bull or treble 14, what's the choice? When bull to leave double 16.
62.
Van Velzen
Gianluca
last night was being
124.
reduced to opportunities like this. Because he was getting outscored, the chances were at things like 1-2-4, at things like 1-10. Finishes where he needs to find something just to give himself a poke at anything. And he's unable to find the trouble to either dart 1 or
88.
2.
Gianluca 40.
He did find a rather peach of a bullseye right there. Look at
He's on the
that,
second
right
leg, Jack
down the
Drayton.
pipe. The first shot in leg 1,
Third leg Jackson
Slotted it.
first. Game on.
this time with a marker, slotted that one as well. If you see this young man in the final in about 25 hours' time, don't
54.
be shocked.
Well, I've put him as my pick to win the tournament. Sorry, Jack, because my predictions, honestly, they are absolutely horrific.
100.
I don't think they're that bad. I think a lot of us went for Darius Labanauskas in Series 9.
97.
Although I did get the last winner right, Charlie Manby.
Labanauskas, when he won in Series 9,
44.
did win Group B. But he only won Group B with 10 points. Went through with David Davies and Tom Sykes. Proper group that.
85.
David Davies, a man in recent months that's given Luke Littler the runaround at Alexandra Palace. Yet to see him here so far in 2026. And part of the reason of that is
57.
because he's done so well in other tournaments. He's basically taken up all of his annual leave on the day-to-day job. Price of success?
What do I keep telling you
98.
about modern day darts? What is necessary to have success? Sacrifice.
85.
It's harder than people think. It's not just saying, oh, I'm going to play darts. A lot of people have to sacrifice work and time with family and friends. Drayton doesn't look like he's in the mood to sacrifice
97.
anything here. He looks like a man who is demanding 4-0 and nothing else.
Do you know what? I caught Jack for a couple of minutes earlier on this evening, and he just looked dialed in, full of focus.
57.
He was
Gianluca
just
70.
in his zone. He was practicing on the stage for a good 5-10 minutes, just on his own, trying to do his own thing. However, that is
30.
a rarefied slip
Gianluca
for Mr.
158.
Drayton.
That's actually the third time this week that he's missed his single and then missed the board doing it. But look on the bright side.
60.
3 darts
Gianluca
tops,
40.
if he needs them.
Game shot on the third leg, Jack
Tops
Drayton.
is working very well. But Van Velzen is not
Fourth leg, Keanu
pressurising
to throw
him.
first.
That's
Game
why
on.
he's 3-0 up.
Kind of put yourself in Keanu's shoes right now. Are you looking at it tonight thinking, just get that one win? Just get something on the board tonight.
Play with freedom.
82.
Go out there and have some fun. Because the pressure's on everybody else. It definitely is on Drayton. It most definitely is on Duff.
41.
He's the only person in this group who is not under pressure.
Keanu can ruin someone's evening, can ruin someone's season potentially tonight.
100% that is true.
And he finds the evening's first maxi. I'm sure it's not going to be the last.
134.
If there are no more 180s tonight, Henry, I will gladly wear a Sunderland shirt tomorrow night. That's not going to
7.
happen.
If there's no more 180s tonight, I will turn up on Monday morning in Speedos.
Never wanted to see a 180 more in my life.
140.
No pressure, lads.
Some of these guys can hit 180s in their sleep. Well, Van Velzen's had a really interesting leg. He had a 180, he followed it by 7. That's what's known as a back to normal shot in the trade. And
41.
Drayton has got 6 darts from here to get the ideal start. It would give him 2 points and a leg difference jolt
140.
140 for Jack, and he's very much on the cusp. 46 left after just a dozen darts to wrap this up 4-0, to put himself onto 8 points.
93.
Put himself on the hill in terms of qualification through to Champions Night tomorrow. Tops for the match. And
Game shot
tops
on the match,
for a
Jack
comprehensive opening win. Last night, Jack Drayton got the action started with a 4-0 victory, and he begins Friday in exactly the same vein. He batters Keanu van Velzen 4-zip. 93.9 for the average, 16 darts per leg on average, 4 from 6 on his doubles, and he's a win away from making it through to Champions Night tomorrow. Next up, Den Herik. He needs to get points on the board this evening. He takes on Stevenson, who can join Jack Drayton on 8 points of a win.
Welcome back. Jack Drayton opening the show with a 4-0 win over Keanu van Velzen. Ominous signs for Keanu, who, for now at least, it just as though seems he's simply been outclassed in this Group B. The signs last night were pointing to that man there, Den Herik, being on a collision course with Neil Duff as to who qualifies in third spot, because that man, Simon Stevenson, is vying for top spot along with Jack Drayton. Stevenson put in the best performance of the night last night, but Den Herik wasn't that far behind him. In particular, with a 4-1 win over his soon-to-be rival, Neil Duff. Stevenson, a bit of a silent assassin, it would seem, here this week. He has been dangerous from Monday morning all the way through to probably Saturday night.
Now, this is the home stretch, isn't it? Can you find some great darts tonight to make sure that you get a very nice welcomed lie-in tomorrow? And when your eyes open up, it's Champions Day. You can enjoy Champions Day, but when it's Champions Night, it gets really serious. Big money darts. That's what you want to be part of in less than 24 hours. 3 people are there. Jack Drayton is closer to being the 4th person through. I wonder if both of these players will make it,
First leg,
or
Jemai
maybe
to
only
throw
one of
first.
them will.
Game on.
Really is all to play for. Jemai started yesterday really slowly. He can't really afford to do that tonight.
Considering his travel plans on Thursday morning, coming to the UK as early as he could, my brain is telling me that he should be more ready tonight than he was yesterday. But after that slow
60.
start against Jack Drayton, he kicked into gear pretty quickly. And he took out Keanu Van Velzen by 4 legs to 2, averaging 94.
57.
But is a 94 average type game going to beat Stevenson? That's debatable.
Yeah, it depends which way you look at it with Den Herik, doesn't it? In that he won here last Saturday night,
60.
but then had to travel back to the Netherlands to work Monday to Wednesday.
Welcome to modern day darts. It's not just throwing darts at a board. It's all the stuff in between that you have to manage as well.
180.
Well, on the bright side, after what we heard in the previous game, we're not going to see Henry and Speedos tomorrow. We are going to see plenty
100.
of 180s, and that's exactly what we want to see.
Well, the only thing missing from this Champions Week
134.
is that magical 9 darter.
Can you imagine if that comes tomorrow night? That would be something else.
140. Jamaica
Wouldn't
70.
it just? Jemai with first dibs on a finish. Double 16.
54. Simon Carr 141.
Shots off. So what we learned from this afternoon is that
65.
you do not
Jamaica
wave the white
16.
flag at any point. Someone taking a leg from this position, there's no guarantee.
Getting shown the first leg, Jemai van Den Herik.
Very, very good. Solid first
Second
leg.
Simon to throw first.
And it's
Game
already
on.
a better start than last night. I think this is the first time this week that Simon's in black.
100.
Still trying to go under the radar, Simon. It's not going to work. We're on to you. We know how good you are.
81.
I mean, you could say Steve Green was going under the radar, but not with what he's been wearing.
Not at all. And he's got a big, bright shirt ready with a dragon on it for Saturday night.
60.
And we've looked at the daily stats for Simon Sam, and every time we look at them, they're well over 90. The doubles last night, pretty dismal actually compared to
140.
earlier in the week, only 25%. But he was giving himself plenty of chances with extremely consistent scoring.
100.
Did mention just before the opening match that Group B can spring a shock.
45.
Think back to Series 11 when Derek Coulson couldn't make it through a Group B from well placed after night 1.
100.
I'm still reeling from this afternoon. That game between Barstow and Green. Most definitely, because of the situation, it was the game of the week with 2 of the shots of the
89.
week.
Simon Carr,
I
141.
just wonder if it's going to come down to Stevenson against Duff in game 9 tonight. Second time he's been on a 141. He gets closer this time.
85. Jamal Carr, 146.
Den Herik steps up, looking at 19s, but immediately the attention shifts to setting up, which he has done so
130. Simon Carr,
superbly.
56.
This could be the key to success for the Mirror Man. If
Game
Tops
shot
is
on
good
second leg,
tonight,
Simon Stevenson.
it could well be him sailing through.
Third
No
leg,
pun
Jemai to
intended.
first. Game
Because
on.
his nickname comes from fitting mirrors on boats. There's probably more boats in Plymouth than there are houses.
96.
How good has he been on Tops this week? My word. It's like he's Robert Thornton in a Simon Stevenson costume.
100.
Never mind the Mirror Man, he's been the danger man. From the get-go, really threatened to win Group A on Wednesday.
100.
Yeah, if you think about the best daily performances of the week, one was on Wednesday, 5 out of 5 from
60.
Stevenson. The next day, 5 out of 5 from Steve Green. 2 unheralded, under-the-radar type characters. And that's why we refuse
98.
to let them stay under the radar, because they've done stuff that nobody else has this week.
And yet it still seems ages ago when we were talking
100.
about Coulson's 4 out of 5 on Tuesday with the running average of, what, 97?
Yeah. It actually feels like a long time since we saw Derek throw a dart on this stage, because so much has happened since.
40.
Well, you'll see him tomorrow. He's opening the show.
Yeah, he will throw the first dart of Champions Night. Not for the first time.
26. Jamal Carr,
We don't see
167.
that too often from Stevenson. Den Herik now has 6 from 167. He's going to need them.
37.
He's really going to need them.
Needs a treble.
100. Jamal Carr, 130.
2 very similar finishes. Big treble, big single, and a double, because the bull is a double. That's already gone. Den Herik actually would have been better off on 115 there.
Samuel Carr, 115.
Made a real mess of this. Stevenson was nowhere in this leg. And now he's everywhere. Tried and trusted.
75. Jamal Carr,
Almost
100.
bent that wire out of shape.
This is how you fix it.
90.
Maybe not.
Samuel Carr, 40.
Brilliant first start. Thereafter, not so great. He's going to have to manage the disappointment of that, because
Game shot on the
Stevenson
third
doesn't
leg.
hesitate
Simon
this time to
Stevenson.
take Tops and a 2-1 lead. That is a scrappy
Forward
leg.
Simon to through first.
Stevenson
Game
won't
on.
mind. When 19 is a scrappy leg, you know how good this group is.
100.
Well, a slip from Den Herik would see
100.
the impetus put on Neil Duff, who is up next to face Keanu van Velzen, who is marooned now at the bottom of the group standings.
What do you think, Sam, with Van Velzen losing
60.
4-0 to Jack? The people who are in contention now, these two, Neil Duff, do they have to replicate what we've seen Jack do already for
131.
themselves?
I've got 2 words for you. Graham Hall. He was out and took everyone with him.
100.
Keanu could do the same.
It could even come down to the person who is yet to play Keanu, when they do, if they lose to him, that might be the reason why they don't make it. So don't think that KVV hasn't got anything to do with who gets through. He could still play the Joker or the wild card.
$140.
So consistent from Stevenson.
Look at the scores in this leg. Ton 60, ton
100.
140.
Simon Newcar,
What was Derek
101.
Coulson saying on Wednesday? He's so straight.
$69.
That's pretty good.
Jemima
And then
Carr,
Herik did mess up
110.
100 in the previous leg. This isn't that different. He's got to stay straight. Well, make of that what you will. I'm not sure about it.
94.
And ironically, he
Simon
does get
Carr,
the 54
32.
with his third dart. He should have got it on dart 2.
One area of the board that's not been Stevenson's ally,
Game shown the fourth leg.
but he
Simon
gets on with them
Stevenson.
just fine on this occasion.
I think he
Fifth leg,
prefers the
Jemima
red
through
doubles
first.
as opposed to
Game
the
on.
green ones.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do, if he wins tomorrow night and you want to buy him a packet of sweets, don't get him one of those brands where it's red and green
58.
ones. Just get him the red ones.
$9.
Wow.
Well, you said you wanted a 9. Not that one.
No, I didn't see that coming from Stevenson.
Yeah, I think
57.
he's quite shocked by that as well. It's not exactly the worst time to hit it. You don't want to do that when it's 3-3, for example.
60.
Goes trebleless again. Jamai has to take advantage. Well, this match would have gotten away from him.
Let's not forget, there's 4 legs between them
96.
in the leg difference column. And 2 points. If Stevenson wins for the second consecutive fixture, he will open up a 4-point cushion
140.
over his Dutch counterpart here in this Group B situation.
$100.
Just a ton from Jamai. Stevenson,
81.
not as straight as maybe he once was. There's a few too many darts deviating off course.
$140.
That is a lovely 140. See, I don't mind people when they leave 50. Some numbers, you hit a 2 treble visit,
100.
you might leave a double that you
Jemima
don't necessarily
Carr,
like.
50.
The good thing about 50 is you can choose. We saw it with Sagansky this afternoon. He'd rather have 1 dart at double 16
Game shown the fifth
then
leg.
2 at
Van Den
tops.
Herik.
Van Den Herik had his chance, and he's taken it.
Sixth leg, Simon who threw first. Game on.
This is the leg for Stevenson where he can serve it out for the victory. And Herik still with it all to do. Van Velzen against Duff up next.
140.
We had something this afternoon that we very rarely see anymore in World Darts. It's got a couple of
100.
names. A 5-ton leg. A red pen leg. That came from Sagansky. 4 tons and a 101 out. Something like that, Stevenson would have had your hand off
100.
for that here in leg 6. But he's just a little bit better than that, isn't he? 2 treble visit followed by a 1.
57.
And he's got Van Den Herik exactly where he wants him now.
Music to the ears of the Duff man.
135.
Wow, that was fortunate. He's made his own luck though as Stevenson.
Yeah, that was a squeeze. sometimes there's a benefit to having a little bit of extra
58.
weight in those barrels. They
Time to
just
count
carry their way in.
126.
It doesn't have to go 19s.
Never entertained it for a second.
86.
Sensible ploy from Stevenson.
Notice how the single 14 was never in play because his mind was occupied with leaving tops to win again against this young Dutchman in 6 legs.
Tops after 12.
Getting shown the match.
So reliable, so consistent, and those little celebrations are happening again for Stevenson. He fancies this all right, and he is on his way. He is almost into Champions Night. How will Neil Duff respond to that defeat from Den Herik? He takes on Van Velzen after the break. Welcome back. Some big matches coming up here in Group B. Champions Week, Series 13 of the Modus Super Series. For the first time tonight, we see the Duff man, Neil Duff, a serial winner here. Yet to land the biggest prize of them all, though, in this building. For Van Velzen, it's now or never. He could well find himself eliminated, and he will find himself eliminated should he not win this match against Duff, the 53-year-old Northern Irishman who resides in Switzerland. He will just be in good spirits, I think, following on from Simon Stevenson's victory over Jemai Den Herik. Advantage to the Duff man, Mr. Deacon.
Well, it's quite simple. 2 wins for Neil Duff tonight. If he wins his opening 2, he's safely through to Saturday night's finale, pretty much, because he'd be on 8 points, and Jemai Den Herik, who he plays in game 2, would only be able to get to a maximum of 8. And so what he'd have to do is dot the I's and cross the T's. Now, if you look at his evening, Neil Duff, he's got, on paper, the easiest 2 games first. The 2 players that are below him in the table first.
First leg,
Keanu Van Velzen
first.
in this one, followed by Jemai Den Herik. That's where he wants to make hay while the sun shines. Because if he has to go late into the night to try and get results, he takes on Jack Drayton in his third game
100.
and Simon Stevenson in his final match of the night. So if I was going to give one bit of advice to Neil Duff, do the damage early, because you don't want to go into those games having to need
95.
something to send yourself through to yet another Champions Night here. I'm sure a former world champion needs my unsolicited advice.
45.
Good job you said that, because I was about to. But, nevertheless, good point well made. And this match got a little bit scrappy
85.
towards the latter part of the match. It went all the way to a last leg decider. Duffman getting the better of it. Van Velzen pushed him.
98.
Do you think Van Velzen has it in him, such as we saw with the likes of a Graham Hall this afternoon?
He's certainly going to try his best. Of that, there's absolutely no doubt. And
One of them, Foxy.
he is being spurred on, that's for sure. In the break between the last game, have been speaking to Marvin Van Velzen, his brother, and him and a few friends are watching on
44.
in a bar, supporting the KVV army tonight. So he's certainly got a lot of support, even though they're not allowed to be here this evening.
145.
And look, this is a big moment for Keanu. Winning his week was the biggest thing he's ever achieved. He's had some decent runs on the development tour before in his career, but this is a step above anything else he's ever done before.
25.
And maybe he's just
Neil
learned a
Duff,
little bit
36.
about the difference in levels over the course of the last
Show the first leg, Neil Duff.
24 hours or so, as Neil Duff finds a 13-dart breaker throw to
Second leg, Neil, the
lead
third first.
1-0.
Game on.
And as I was saying to Paul Nicholson in the opening game, I just get the sense that Keanu, the objective tonight is to make sure he doesn't finish on 0 points. Just get a win on the board and then see where it takes him
55.
from there.
Spoil someone's evening. That's what he wants to do. But he will come away from
85.
tonight richer for the experience. Of that there is no doubt. He's still only 23. That's still, I know we're going about the youth players in this game, but even at 23, that's still a baby.
108.
And once upon a time, we used to say 23 was an embryo in this sport. Nowadays, they're past their peak.
28.
If Neil Duff can just sharpen up on his doubling, which early signs so far so good, but his scoring power yesterday was probably the best we've ever seen
125.
from him, and that is saying something from a 6-time weekly winner.
7 180s yesterday for the Duff man, the most of anybody in the group.
58.
Average just under
Neil the car,
91 in the end for the
141.
evening. And he's got first dibs here to take a 2-0 lead. He's not going to find the treble 18, and so just
81.
try and set things up. Van Velzen all the way back on 330.
$57. Neil the car, 60.
Single for double then, for 2-0. That's something to work with.
Game show the second leg, Neil Duff.
That'll do. 2-0 Duff.
28 darts for the first 2
Third
legs.
leg,
Neil
Keanu
Duff
to throw
averaging
first. Game on.
107.36 at what could be in the midway point of the contest. Well, we said the one thing Keanu Van Velzen will probably look for
100.
tonight is a first win of the group. He's looking for a first leg of the night because he got beat 4-0 by Jack Drayton in the opener. And now with Neil Duff 2-0 up here, he's 0-6.
100.
Picked up 7 legs last night, which actually is a
57.
decent total for a player that didn't pick up a win. But the big problem was he was just getting comprehensively
100.
outscored, wasn't he, by opponents? And that's why he only got 17 opportunities at a double all night. Took 7 of them, 41%. But it's been scores like
45.
that. Your 45s and your 85s, which at this level just get punished.
Yeah. Let's not forget, let's cast our minds back to sort of around this time 24 hours ago where
81.
he threatened big time against Jemai van den Herik, not least with a 1-5-2 out Van Velzen. Van den Herik eventually winning it
44.
with a 170 though, so he will feel as though everything is being hit against him.
Well, so
85.
far, this is going perfectly for Neil Duff. Defeat for Jemai van den Herik in the previous game 4-2 against Simon Stevenson, and 2-0 to the goods here, and looking set to move 3 up in next to no time at all. And you could just see, for the first time on the face of Keanu van Velzen, just a bit of a
60.
deflated look.
Near the car, 135.
He would have been looking forward to this for the best part of 3 months, Keanu. And I just wonder whether all those good feelings he would have had coming to Portsmouth yesterday are just beginning to turn into a bit of a nightmare.
110.
Again, it's easy to forget just how difficult it is to win those weeks early in the series. I mean, Steve Green has really gone against the grain with his performances over the previous 2 afternoons.
95.
Van Velzen is finding it tough.
Well, it's hard enough just winning a week whenever. And he should take a lot of pride and a lot of credit for doing
On the
that.
third leg, Neil
And I
Duff.
know that's going to mean little to no consolation now as Neil Duff goes 3-0
Fourth leg,
to
Neil
the
through
goods.
first. Game on.
But what I hope doesn't happen for Keanu is he walks away this week thinking it's a failure. Just being here is an achievement within itself, because
60.
there's some good players, and I mean really good players, that never qualified for one of these. I mean, look at Lee Cox. How many times has he tried to win a
123.
week here and it hasn't happened? Robert Thornton's never won a week here before. They don't get handed out like confetti at a Greek wedding.
60.
Well, rare back-to-back travel-less visits from Duff. Van Velzen really has to force the issue now.
58.
He goes troubleless himself, and there is an air of resignation now about Keanu.
Well, the problem is he's not playing Neil Duff right now. He's fighting against
81.
himself. And it's a long way back when you begin doing that. Trust me, Sam, I've been in enough of these positions to know. I was doing it just the other night against
45.
you, pal. Missed that tops of the 114 and I fell to pieces.
95.
Van Velzen isn't out of this leg, but that's handy. Very handy.
140.
Well, he's first to finish in this leg. Only problem is Neil Duff has the throw and is beginning to find something tangible.
135.
Very tangible.
Keanu Ricard, 135.
Pitch is too low
63.
on both
Ricard,
occasions.
70.
And Duff can wrap this one up. Tops.
30. Keanu
Match start
Ricard,
miss for the Duff
72.
man. Van Velzen hasn't had a dart at a double all evening long. Didn't get one against Jack Drayton. Should get his first here. That was difficult, just finding the
52.
big number there in that suit.
Near the
Misses
car,
the tops,
40.
Duff back to win it.
Game shown
He's
the
won
match,
it.
Neil Duff.
The perfect start for tonight for the Duff man. Neil Duff is looking good for qualification from Group B. He has that early advantage over his rival Jemai van den Herik. bidding for that third spot. It's a win for Neil Duff. Keanu van Velzen has been eliminated. Welcome back. Before the break, Keanu van Velzen was eliminated from Group B, meaning the 3 spots are now from 4 players. The winner of this match between the top 2, Simon Stevenson and Jack Drayton, will officially qualify for Champions Night. The scoreline of this match was 4-0 last night, and Paul Nicholson and Henry Deacon, I think we can all agree, we will be staggered if that scoreline is repeated.
Absolutely, but as we know here in this format, Sam, stranger things can happen. I just wonder how much the players will know to the knowledge that this is a knockout game to go through. Now, usually the rule of thumb is 10 points is good enough to get you through and out of a Group B. But that's usually under the proviso that everybody's picked up points. Now, Keanu van Velzen still on 0 has led to a situation where 4 players can finish on 10 points. Remember, only 3 can go through. So the winner of this game will move on to 10 points. And then, of course, you've got Neil Duff and Den Herik playing in the next. Now, Jemai has to win all of his remaining games to move on to 10 points in the group. Neil can lose that game to Jemai and still get to 10 if he wins his last 2 games, which means that Drayton and Stevenson would still be in a position
42.
where they could finish on 10 points as well. So it's still a predicament where 4 players can finish on 10 points in this group come the end of play this evening. And to the best of my knowledge, that's never happened
100.
before.
What we can say categorically is that 10 points has always been good enough to make Champions Night. We did have a crazy situation in Series 3 when John Worsley won
82.
Group B with 10 points, Daryl Pilgrim was second with 10 points, and Scott Taylor was third on 10 points. I wonder if that's going to happen again.
100.
It hasn't happened since.
100.
Well, you get the sense that these two should get on to 10 points. And particularly in the case of Simon Stevenson, because of the greatest of respect, he's still to play Keanu van Velzen this evening.
60.
And that is with all due respect, because it just does feel like 4 players are on a different level to that of Keanu right now.
I think Keanu's biggest battle at the minute is against himself. I just hope he
41.
regroups going into his game against Simon Stevenson in a couple of matches' time. Who cannot find the 141, and so Drayton off the
85.
back of that 180, trying to
Car,
combine 2
97.
names into one there. Looking at 97 for the break.
Every leg he's won tonight, he's hit tops.
73. Samuel Carr, 56.
If he's going to be winning his 5th consecutive leg, that trend is about to change.
36.
So there you
Samuel
go.
Carr, 24.
Now he needs double 12 after an I can't even talk now. Uncharacteristic
Getting shown the
mistake
first
from
leg, Jack
Stevenson.
Drayton.
But that man is not making a mistake.
Second
He's
leg,
been
Jack
excellent on his
first.
doubles
Game
tonight.
on.
1-0 Drayton. Breaker throw accrued. 5 out of 5 in terms of legs won for him this evening.
He's not been perfect on the doubles
95.
because he has missed some. But he has been visit perfect. And you can't ask for more than that. Well, you can. It's just being greedy.
100.
I'm going to turn into Matthew Edgar for a second. I'm not going to transport myself to Las Vegas. I'm not going to pretend I've got a trendy YouTube channel. However, he
99.
speaks a lot about visit functionality. And in particular, there was an example when Bo Grease played here. Her doubling stats, I think, was about 35%, something like that for the night. But actually, in terms of visits to the board, she was about 70-80%. I think she had, it was something like where she had like 16 legs won on a night, 13 of them came in the visit where she had
93.
a dart at a double or something like that. And look, sometimes that's where stats can be a little bit of a fine line, a bit of a grey area. Sometimes the doubling stats may not look impressive, but actually you're getting the job done within the allocated amount of
96.
darts possible. And if you're outscoring opponents, by and large, you're probably going to get 2, 3 in hand during a visit to get the leg won.
You might get a few less tomorrow night
100.
when you're up against people like Steve Green and Derek Coulson. If you get 2 darts at a double and you don't take it, whose fault is it? There's not going to be any sympathy on Saturday night.
180. Jack Carr, 140.
So when you get chances, take them. Otherwise, you're to blame. 45 bull? Yeah.
89.
Great board diversity
Carr,
there from
65.
Drayton. Love to see that. Not going for blocked beds.
No surprise, his in-game management is spot on. That's
Getting shot
spot
the
on
second leg,
too from
Simon
Simon Stevenson. 14 dart break back, 1 apiece. You speak
Third leg,
about
Simon,
standard
throw
and what's
first.
going to be
Game on.
required to win tomorrow night. If you've got an 8 at the beginning of your average tomorrow night, expect to lose.
I think that's fair.
140.
I'm curious to know what Jack Drayton's course management is like on a golf course. If it's anything like his board management, it's pretty good.
180.
And if his driving is anything like that, he's going to outdrive everyone.
Well, he's driving slightly better than Rory McIlroy's at the weekend.
100.
Oh, that was a nasty deflection.
97.
If he'd landed that second treble 20, I think he was going to switch to keep the 9-darter on.
The Getty price weight.
I have seen a 144 for a 9 from Sebastian Białowski. That was in a Champions Week. Quite some time ago, and he's back in there again. Wow. What a scoring leg from Drayton. Stevenson wouldn't dare. Well, he tried. I think even that 161 wouldn't eclipse the one we saw this afternoon.
Jack Lucan, 44.
Stevenson unable to stand where Chaz Barstow once was, as Drayton looks at tops for an 11-darter.
Getting shown the third leg.
What
Jack
a leg,
Drayton.
what a game this is becoming. 14-darter to level up for
Fourth
Simon
leg Jackson
Stevenson.
through
Backed
first.
up by
Game on.
11-dart break for Jack Drayton, who's averaging north of 105 here. Just going back to 9-dart legs at Champions Weeks, Nico. That one from Sebastian Białowski against Anton
96.
Ersland in November 2023 was the last one to be hit at a Champions Week. We've only seen two. One from Steve West against Luke Littler, and that one there from the pole.
140.
This, at the minute, is the best that Jack has played this week.
58.
Not a completed game. But it is the best statistically that he's played in Champions Week so far.
100.
And the likelihoods are good. The doubling in the first game, the scoring and the doubling in this game.
134.
I have a sneaky suspicion that he's got energy in abundance. And providing that he does make Champions Night, I don't think he's going to be flagging on day 6.
83.
He's got reserves in the tank as Jack Drayton.
If you can win 2 Development Tour titles in a day, you've got an engine. That is a ridiculous thing to do.
99.
To put it into context, for people maybe watching from overseas, and if you are, welcome along to you. These are tournaments in excess of 300 players. So you've got to
58.
play potentially your last 5-12, the last
114.
2-5-6 down to a winner. That's hard enough to win once in a day, let alone twice.
Yeah, he won 18 games in the same day.
76.
Actually,
Sam
I just double checked.
120.
It was either side of a little break. But it's 18 games in a row. That's a marker. And he's overshot it.
100.
But it is a point because we
Johnny
mentioned
Carr,
about players
38.
fatiguing after 25 games in a week. He played that in the space of 24 hours.
Yes, he did. How good are you at double 16 then? That
Six.
corner of the board just needs a
Cameron
little
Carr,
bit of
20.
work.
I get the sense that he's bet on doubles that are in line, as opposed to the ones that just skew off a little bit, like 16s and 8s, that are a bit more at an angle. Big dart. Big dart,
Getting
big
shown the
find.
fourth leg, Sam
And
Stevenson.
we're back on terms. All 4 legs so far in this contest
Fifth
has
leg,
been
Simon through
breaks.
first. Game on.
And we're back on terms at 2-2.
I've just had another look at Drayton's Development Tour weekend, which was at the end of February.
100.
Please just understand how difficult this is. 30 games of darts, 27 victories.
60.
Just going to leave that hanging in the air for a second. If he can do that over 3 days,
100.
there's no reason why he can't win this title. He only averaged in 3 figures
60.
over those 30 games once. And yes, his average has dropped in this game, but I get the sneaky suspicion that there's another level to find with
140.
this young man. But it is Stevenson who is finding the other level now.
121.
Not just is he doing it on the development tour, he did so at the Isle of Man as well. I know we spoke about the tournament he won, but in the other two events, got through to the quarters and the semi-finals. He played a lot of darts that weekend and got
45.
a lot of scalps, has to be said too.
So what you're saying is a lot has happened in a very short space of time, and more could happen in the next 24 hours as he bounces back in this leg.
140.
Well, there's only 4 points
Dominic
between them in the
116.
entire game.
But Stevenson, importantly, on throw with first poke. Needed a treble of any of the first two, couldn't find. And so Drayton looking at the 120. And where have we seen that before from a rising
86.
star?
Jolly
A
Car,
phantom
120.
throw in the background. Otherwise known as the Crabtree. Or the Pilgrim. Take your pick.
42. Samuel Carr, 30.
Oh, this is troublesome earlier on for Chaz Barstow. He went straight for it and couldn't find it. Oh, that was close.
26.
Well,
Jolly Car,
things are
78.
changing. Because Drayton has been taking these kind of shots out all week.
These types of finishes are difference makers.
Gage
They
on the
may
fifth
not
leg,
look
Jack
like the
Drayton.
biggest in terms of number, but they're big in terms of effect.
Sixth leg, Jack
The
is
double 12s
reversed.
found.
Game on.
Drayton breaks for the 5th consecutive occasion in this game. He leads 3-2, and he's hoping that the only holder throw in this contest comes now, and he seals a 4-2 win, which seals his place through
60.
to tomorrow's Champions Night.
It's nice to see young players succeeding in this place. You don't necessarily have to have a great deal of experience to make your way through to
140.
big-time matches under this roof. We saw it with Owen Bates a couple of years ago. He went to a Champions Night and averaged 113 in a game.
91.
And still didn't make it any further. But I just get the sense Jack
140.
Drayton's one of these players that's just built for endurance courses. And I just wonder if he progresses at the rate of not to expect him to, whether he will be the type
58.
of player that when it gets to things like Pro Tours, Challenge Tours later on in the year, where we will see him do his work, because we know how some players can fatigue as the day goes on. He shows no signs of wilting.
180.
He's going to need that strength by the looks of it, because Stevenson's hit him back. We've had 5 180s in this game alone.
140.
That's
Samuel Carr,
more than we've had
41.
all night.
And this could be the second 11 darter of the game. Jack Drayton had one earlier on. Stevenson's not going to find one of his own. But 12 will
Gage on
do.
the sixth leg,
And
Simon
that is the 6th
Stevenson.
consecutive break. And for the first time tonight, we go all
Seventh
the
and final
way
leg, Simon to throw
to a
first.
last leg
Game on.
decider. A leg which will determine who will make it through to Champions Night tomorrow evening. That the tail of the tape in terms of the leg by leg. More breaks than a skateboarder's medical record.
140.
And that the power pack, Nico.
Not bad at all.
140.
Look straight at those 180s, 5 of them. We had 3 all night coming into this game. This fixture is just wonderful.
140.
I've seen it all week. It has not disappointed.
91.
Advantage, Simon. Simon says, take 221
140.
in 5 or 6 darts.
Jack don't care what Simon says.
He needs a beanstalk to get to that 60.
$60. Samuel
Look at
Carr,
the angle.
81.
It's like it was fired in by Robin Hood from Nottingham.
Well, 6 breaks of throw in this game, but the one hold might come at the very last. Simon Stevenson has a match dart at double 16,
Game shot on
and
the
that
match,
dart
Simon Stevenson.
sends the Mirror Man into Champions Night tomorrow. Simon Stevenson gives Jack Drayton a punch in the guts. He's into tomorrow night's final and a chance to play for the £25,000 top prize. Jack Drayton should join him. He'll hope to join him later on. And I think he's just been given confirmation there for the referee, Paul Higgs, that he is in. And that is how he did it. Some contest. Simon Stevenson through to Champions Night tomorrow. He's beaten Jack Drayton by 4 legs to 3.
Before the break, Simon Stevenson booked his spot into Champions Night with a 4-3 win over Jack Drayton, who was still almost there himself. Great scenes between the two of them as they shared that stage all week, the two dropping down from Group A into Group B, and they are bossing it. So, Stevenson through, Drayton almost through, but the battle for third is about to hot up. Neil Duff currently occupies that third spot. Down in fourth is that man, Den Herik. He cannot afford a defeat here. It is as simple as that. Has to win to keep himself in the mix due to the Duff man's leg difference to win here, almost sending himself through. And as we have said so often all week, Henry Deacon, this match is a biggie.
It is, but if you're Jack Drayton, things aren't as comfortable as perhaps you would have thought. Lost 4-3 there to Simon Stevenson.
First leg is
Jemai
Neil
Van
to
Den
throw
Herik
first.
wins this. He moves on to
Game on.
6 points. Then we see Jemai take on Keanu Van Velzen. He could potentially then move on 8, and then he will play Jack Drayton at the end of the night. If results go forward against one another in those
121.
particular matches, Jack Drayton may be forced to play a shootout in game 10 of the evening. But first things first, Jemai has to win this game. If he doesn't, he's pretty much on the Super Series scrap heap.
59.
And that's not a nice place to be.
It's almost as though we're having deja vu from this afternoon.
100.
Yeah, this has the feel of a shootout. Just like that game between Radek Zagansky and Chaz Barstow. And Chaz for so long looked as if he was
58.
comfortably in second position and about to progress himself into a first Champions Night. Radek could win that game. He'd win it by a margin. And how
44.
things changed as a result. The poll into tomorrow night's final on debut at a Champions Week. Chaz Barstow having to travel up the M27, licking his wounds.
180.
Van Den Herik firing himself back into contention in this opening leg with a perfectly timed maximum. Duff's strong scoring power eluding him.
58.
We'll be hoping for briefly. Van Den Herik has an early opportunity to potentially steal. When Jemai is in full flow, there's not many better
58.
to watch, but we haven't seen it anywhere near as often enough so far in this Group B.
And I think part of the problem that
58.
Jemai may have is I
Ricard,
think he's a very
146.
strong front runner. I'm not quite sure he's somebody that can come back from behind in games and then get the job done. I'll give you an example of that in the next leg.
44.
Because we've been
Ricard,
scouring through some
120.
data from earlier on in the season that perhaps would suggest it. Tops it is.
80.
Tops just above.
Jemai Ricard, 102.
For the single, and now the double.
70. Neil Ricard, 40.
It's not there for Jemai, and Duffman returns for tops.
Gain
And
shot
it's
on the
only
first
a hold
leg,
of
Neil
throw, but it's a big hold of throw at
Second
this
leg, Jemai to
stage
throw
of a
first.
group
Game on.
stage. Things like that matter.
And this is the point I want to illustrate. And I hope Jemai proves me wrong when I say this. Looking at some of the data
100.
from his matches at the PDC World Masters in January, which is over a short set play format, best of 3 legs to a set. Now, in that tournament,
41.
he played 7 sets. He only won the first leg in those sets on 2 occasions. He won 1 set in the tournament. So effectively, what I'm trying to say is, once he goes one down,
57.
he finds it rather difficult to kind of claw back that deficit. And he can ill afford to do that here in a game against Neil Duff. He is one down, but he's going to have to find some powers of recovery here.
100.
Has been a scrappy opening
96.
to this match. Both players will full well know the significance, the importance of this fixture. Just tenses up the arm,
55.
slows the match down. Each visit more impactful, more meaningful.
100.
Well, Van Den Herik first to finish on throw. Well, the words of Wayne Mardle, Neil Duff has to watch his work.
130. Jemai Ricard, 148.
Van Den Herik has 6 here from 148 to draw level.
$100.
That'll do. That'll do nicely. Can return for a potential 2-dart outshot to bring himself level.
59. Jemai Ricard, 48.
Duff lurking in the background if double 16 doesn't go. This is awkward. Flight's in the way.
16. Neil the car 116.
Did this on a couple of occasions last night, the old 116 did Duff, man. I'm getting deja vu now. Neil Duff, 116. Masterful.
Felt like Neil did through first.
And Van Den Herik has just been hoisted by his own petard because it was that 116 finish taken out that way that won him last week. And all of a sudden, Neil Duff's found a bit of tempo, a bit of pep in his step. He's 2-0 up. He's feeling good. He's looking good. And is in an impossibly good position. Not just in this game, but in the context of
59.
this group.
Time is running
85.
out for Van Den Herik. He's finding himself in a really invidious position. There's no let up whatsoever from Duff. There never is. He always seems to find a way. Even
56.
when things don't go his way. He's a serial winner in this place.
When he won the WDF World Championship in 2022, he had a game against Jim McEwen in the quarterfinals. He was 3 sets to 1 down. Managed to find a way to win 4-3, won the tournament. Doesn't matter what
96.
the position, he will dig in. And where he can, he will find a way. For back-to-back ton toppers. Neil Duff is putting his foot down. Back-to-back tub plus checkouts. 3-0 to the goods.
Game on.
And leg by leg, he is edging ever closer towards Champions Night. He can't confirm his place for the win here.
100.
But he puts Van Den Herik in an impossible position.
Seeking back-to-back 4-0 wins. Really going double
140.
Dutch over Van Velzen and now potentially over Van Den Herik as well. What a perfect night so far for the Duff man.
And what we mentioned earlier on in this
96.
game about Jemai sometimes struggling to come back from early deficits in games. That trend continuing here. One-way traffic
95.
this contest. And you can see it in terms of the numbers. There's a chasm in terms of the averages by about 15 points in Neil Duff's favour. That's effectively a visit and a half.
162.
Defiant from Jemai.
86. Jemai Ricard 143.
And he'll have 6 from here for his act of defiance.
64.
Duff will pile on the pressure.
I was going to say, you wouldn't be surprised in the slightest
100.
if he left himself
Jemai
on top, but
Ricard,
he would take
79.
80 for a second prize.
Back up to 20s. And tops.
39.
It's just
Ricard, 80.
not going for Van Den Herik. And this is for the match.
And this for Neil Duff is a big step towards Champions Night. If he can get over the line, double 5.
70.
He cannot
Jemai
find
Ricard,
the
40.
double that won in the week to win him this game.
And then Jemai. How about this time? 2 10s. There it
Each on
is.
the fourth leg, Jemai Van Den Herik.
He survived
If Neil
match
did through
darts.
first, game on.
He's still surviving in Group B, but for how much longer?
$140.
Well, all Jemai could have done was force Neil Duff to serve the game out. By winning that leg, he
123.
makes Neil Duff have to win it on his throw here.
$55.
Now then, it's like that, which might not seem that significant at the time, but Van Den Herik has to make it significant,
58.
and he hasn't. He hasn't been able to capitalise. When Duff is in this sort of mood, he's not going to give you too
59.
many chances. So when they do arise, you simply have to take them. There's no two ways about it.
However, Van den Herik has been given an opening here.
100.
And that reaction we saw from Neil from the end of the last visit was a wake-up call to himself, because he's been in control for large swathes of this contest, but he knows if he gets broken here, all of a sudden he's embroiled in a contest that he should have won a few moments ago.
100.
First to a finish in this leg. What pressure can Van den Herik apply?
$81.
Again, when threatening brilliance, Van den Herik is found wanting. Duff will probably feel as though he's got 6 from here. Unless
60.
Van den Herik can pull it out of the fire.
Well, we've seen some defiant shots today, most notably the 1-6-1 of Chaz Barstow earlier. Van den Herik needs something from a similar draw. But he's unable to find the bullseye with dart 2. So
99.
Neil Duff back for 87 to
87.
win this game 4-1.
Shake of the head tells you all you need to know. But he can rescue the situation with double
63.
12, and it's another match dart missed.
40.
Jemai Van den Herik a few moments ago looked as if he's just playing pacemaker to Neil Duff in this game. But all of a sudden he's broken the Duff man, and this game is back to 3-2. A game which should have been over a few moments ago.
Game on.
Neil Duff knows it. Jemai Van den Herik knows it, and he has the darts in his hand to sensationally take this game all the way to a last leg decider.
Duff didn't look up. Still looking at
100.
the floor. Wasn't interested in engaging. All business. He's allowed himself
125.
to become embroiled. He's missed darts for a 4-0 win. He's missed darts for a 4-1 win.
96.
Van den Herik threatening a last leg shootout.
$100.
Should start on the 18s. Jemai is quite a wise cookie, so he does know the mathematics. 2 treble 20s with a left to finish.
58.
Love that camera angle. Brilliant camage that.
Oh, look at this. Perfect.
180.
Absolutely perfect. And the Duff man is accelerating once more to victory. Or is he?
180.
Credit goes where credit's
96.
due. Jemai Van den Herik isn't giving up without a fight. And Neil Duff isn't going to get a match dart
56.
here. And Van den
Jemai
Herik
found
is back for
67.
67 to take us all the way.
Well, well, well. One in hand at double
Game's on the
16.
sixth,
Van den
Jemai Van
Herik
den
sends
Herik.
us all the way to a last leg shootout from 3-0 down.
Neil to throw first.
You wait to fist bump
Game on.
with the Duff man. Neil has the darts in this last leg shootout. Things are getting tense.
Now that, Sam, was a 6-7 for Jemai Van den Herik.
55.
And how pivotal could it be? He was 3-0 down, looked out of the contest. And do you know what? Everything that I said early on in this contest has been proved wrong. And credit to
59.
Jemai.
You said you were hoping Jemai would prove you wrong. He's threatening to do so.
180.
But the Duff man always has other ideas.
This is a man that always seemingly has answers to any question posed to him.
134.
Has he got just a little bit too much in the end for this Dutch youngster?
Brilliant mental fortitude shown by both
99.
on stage. Duff to recompose for this last leg, where he's left to finish after just 9 darts thrown. Van den Herik, the tenacity to battle and scrap
56.
and
Near the
claw
count,
his way back into
67.
this match, but he's given Duff a bit of a soft lead in this last leg decider.
100.
Has to get his skates on.
Well, Neil Duff himself has left himself on 67. But what a leg this is on throw from the Duff man on a 2-darter after a dozen. He's effectively forced Jemai Van den Herik
83.
into something world-class
Neil
to
67.
depose him. And that treble one has left Van den Herik on 169. And so Duff's got all the time and space he wants to win this game at last.
After doing all the hard work to get himself back in this
Show the
match, Van
Neil
den Herik has succumbed to Neil Duff. A huge win to send Duff close to another Champions Night. That was an almighty performance to drag himself back in that last leg shootout. Neil Duff defeats Jemai Van den Herik 4-3. Well, what a night it's been so far. Huge moment before the break. Neil Duff getting the better of Jemai Van den Herik in a last leg shootout. Duffman raced to a 3-0 lead. Van den Herik clawed him back. Duffman held his nerve for the 4-3 win. Simon Stevenson already through Drayton and Duff now almost there. Simon Stevenson once again solid as a rock. It's not totally done mathematically for Messrs Drayton and Duff. However, you just feel, Nico, that defeat by Duff inflicted onto Den Herik just broke Jamai's heart.
Just a little bit. He's not into the realms of obscurity so far, Den Herik, but you just get the feeling that that tops hit. It really was important. You see what it meant to Duff. We're talking about a guy who's been here so many times in this position. Yes, he's only made one Champions Night, but how many Group Bs has he been in? He knows all the permutations. He knows what's important. And that 4-point gap between 4th and 3rd now, it's big. But Den Herik has got 2 fixtures left. The last one of the night. He's got to give himself a chance by the time he gets there, but he's going to need help along the way. Duff's going to have to lose twice. Den Herik is going to have to win twice.
And in turn, I suppose that makes this one a bit of a dead rubber. Van Velzen already eliminated. Stevenson already through. Just like Group C this afternoon, you get the sense that Keanu Van Velzen is going to spoil someone's night.
Maybe he will. Maybe he will spoil Jamai's night. Imagine if Keanu were to get the victory in his last game. That would send Den Herik back to the Netherlands with him. But I think there's something on this now. All along this week,
First leg,
I've been
Keanu
talking
to
about
first.
people who win groups.
Game on.
In the series, people who have won a group en route to Saturday have done extremely well. 10 out of 12 winners won
44.
their group in the week to make the Saturday. As for how people do in Champions Weeks, 7 times the winner of Group B has gone on to win the title.
100.
Trends tell us that the winner of Group B has got a better chance than the others. And here's the crux to this.
41.
We've never had a series champion who's come second in Group B that week.
140.
Well, you look at players who made it here by winning their Group B en route to winning their regulation week in Series 13. Radek
94.
Zagansky. He's back tomorrow night. Unbelievably.
Yep. He finished second in Group C, and we've never had a champion on a Saturday night in Champions Week who's finished second
100.
in Group C, so there are possibilities. The only one we can't tick off the list is Nathan Potter, because he finished
81.
sixth in Group
Sander
A.
Coward, 61.
He's not in Saturday night, so that will remain into Series 14.
Neil Duff also here by
100.
winning a Group B in his regulation week when he went on to defeat James Buckby in the Week 7 final. Chaz Barstow
42.
and Jamai Van Den
Sander
Herik,
Coward,
the other
61.
Group B winners en route to winning their regulation weeks. It's looking unlikely for Jamai, and Barstow, as we know, eliminated in dramatic fashion. Tops for Stevenson.
21.
He'll have another crack at it, which means he's probably going 1-0 up.
134. Sander Coward, 40.
You expect it. And
Engaged on the
Stevenson
first leg, Simon
delivers.
Stevenson. Second leg, Simon who threw first. Game on.
From a player's perspective then, Nico, what can Van Velzen take away from his Champions Week experience? It's been tough going for him, but he has to learn from it.
Yeah, sometimes you need to witness the standard to be able to find it.
140.
You don't just walk into the woods and expect to see a buffet
57.
of steak in the middle of the trees. Sometimes you've got to see how things are created. You've got to see the primal aspect of something. And in the case of darts, if you want to be world class,
140.
you've got to see what it's like from close quarters. Speak to anybody who had their first experience of a world class venue.
180.
It terrifies them. But then, when you wake up the next day, you realize, hang on a minute, if I work hard enough, I can do that. And we saw it from Marvin Van Velzen.
140.
When he was here the first time, He was good. When he came back, he was better. Is there any reason why this Van Velzen can't do the same?
94. Samuel Carr 81.
Again, you expect it to go. Over to double six, but it hasn't
75.
gone this time.
Keanu Ricard 170.
Now then, Keanu, can you make a name for yourself? Well, this time he's had one hit against him
64.
in this
Samuel
Group
Carr
B.
6.
Yeah, I think the lack of trebles in this game is getting on Keanu's wick.
Getting shown the second leg, Simon
And so is
Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson.
Third leg,
Because
Keanu
he's
to throw
just
first.
meandering
Game
around
on.
this stage, doing his thing. And he does know he's through. I think secretly
134.
Simon will be very happy that the job's done before he plays Duff, man. We speculated earlier tonight that if it went that far, that is one of those
83.
fixtures that it's just so dangerous. But credit to Simon, it's all said and done before he even gets there.
85.
And what we've just seen from Neil, when he gets that fire, he's a different player. He played so well in the first 3 legs, and his ability to close the game out at the end, that's what world champions do. But at this stage, I'm really struggling to see where
44.
the first leg comes from for Keanu tonight. He's already lost 10 on the bounce.
Yeah,
140.
it's really tough going for Van Velzen. Stevenson just
140.
keeps on getting
Samuel
better
Carr,
and
98.
better. Treble 19. Oh, double 18.
62. Keanu Ricard 98.
One person couldn't find it. Can the other? Come on, Keanu. Yes.
78.
He hasn't had many darts at double
Samuel
tonight.
Carr 36.
In fact, that's only his second.
Quite like the ingenuity.
Getting shown the third leg, Simon Stevenson.
Much more regulation, and again, relentless,
Fourth leg,
ruthless.
Simon to throw first. Game on.
Look at that. That's just wonderful. We're doing it in chorus, Sam. We're just lauding this guy. Now, just
60.
over 12 months ago, Rory McIlroy won his first Masters when Shane Lowry went to the Augusta National Club and said, "Can I get some wine from the cellar just to give to Rory as a present?"
93.
He said this stuff to the chairman. They said, no, we don't sell the wine from the cellar. But I think he managed to get some in the end. And the bottle he got was a 1990 Chateau Lafite Rothschild.
100.
I don't know how much it was. It was a lot of money. But quite frankly, Simon Stevenson is like that bottle of wine. With age, he just gets better.
60.
It's a brilliant testament, really, considering how often we muse about the fantastic young players in this sport now. But you look at Simon Stevenson, you look at Derek Coulson, you look at Neil Duff. Joy to behold.
15.
I tell you what he is. He's vintage. It's the best compliment I can pay him.
100.
If he was a stock, you'd buy it. If he was a bottle of wine, you'd buy it. If he was a collectible, you'd keep it.
100. Samuel Carr 101.
To inflict another whitewash defeat to Keanu Van Velzen. Stevenson tops away.
61.
And he will be back.
That's a great phrase for this town, by the way. Not chocks away. Tops away.
140. Samuel Carr 40.
Tops away then. Over to tens.
Getting shown the match,
And
Simon
it's another
Stevenson.
4-0 defeat for Keanu Van Velzen, and Stevenson is accelerating away to become the Group B winner here on Champions Week. He continues to impress My word, he's going to be dangerous. It's another ton plus average from Stevenson. This is ruthless from the Mirror Man. Welcome back. Both players on stage, Jack Drayton and Neil Duff, have put themselves in brilliant positions to join Simon Stevenson in qualifying from Group B to make it through to Champions Night tomorrow night. It's a battle of youth against experience on stage, and one in the commentary box as well with Paul Nicholson and Henry Deacon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. So we head into Game 7 of the night between Neil Duff and Jack Drayton. The winner will move on to 10 points in the group, respectively. And that means the magic number, the magic total to progress through the champion. That's because Den Herik from this point onwards can only get to a maximum of 8 points in the group if he wins his last 2 games. So the winner of this will be safely into tomorrow night's finale. So those are the I's and the T's dotted and crossed. Effectively, this is a knockout game, really, isn't it? That's the way they've got to treat it anyway.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it?
First leg, Neil.
You've got Derek Coulson, who's been
Game on.
to 4 Champions Nights before. Sagansky in green. They are debutants come Saturday night. Simon Stevenson, debutant Saturday night. By the looks of it, at this stage, it looks like both of these guys are going to go through, but that is not guaranteed yet. But what we do know is that if Duff makes it, it will be his second Champions Night.
One of them, 40.
I've been so impressed with Neil in this group. I think he's been excellent. Maybe he didn't get the amount of points last night that he probably should have.
39.
But the vigour he's come in with tonight, he's shown why he's got the reputation he has. He's played superbly.
Point to prove. And he knows exactly what he has to do come the tail end of weeks. He's done it so many times in the past. And I just wonder as well, the fact that he's gone so under the radar this week, no one's really talked up his chance of winning this title.
One of them, 40.
I think he's enjoyed the fact that this time he's been able to lay low a little bit. Usually in most weeks, he's one of the favourites, if not the favourite, to pick the trophy up.
Yeah, the way he's playing tonight, I
29.
don't think he's going to be forgotten come Saturday night, providing that he does make it. He's been sitting in the third position in this table forever.
96. Neil Car, 68.
Maybe getting up to second is a sign. Double four. Oh,
No score.
Wow. Look at the shock on Drayton's face. He did not expect to see that second dart. I don't think the entire world did.
Not least Neil Duff himself. And so he's going to have to do the hard work all over again. May have a look at the 25 here. Unable to
68.
locate. And so
Neil
Duff
Car,
looking at 68 again.
Getting shot on the first leg,
He's such
Neil
a
Duff.
tease. That's a great shot. But how many times do we see
Second leg
it?
Jackson
Somebody
through the
busts a
first,
shot like
game
that and they
on.
take it the next opportunity. It's so unbelievable how many times we see that.
So serendipitous. The Drayton response, a maximum response.
We've been trying to figure out what is the best result for Jamai van den Herik here.
54.
And we think that a Neil Duff big victory is the best one for Van den Herik because he's still got a game against Drayton.
One of them, 40.
It's all about what you can affect against the people you've got. He's still got to play Drayton, has Jamai van den Herik, which means the possible leg swing
One of them, 40.
is 8 legs. If Drayton were to win and go through, the effect on what Van den Herik can do with Duff is minimised.
91.
So that first leg has gone to plan for the young Dutchman who's clinging on by his fingernails.
Well, if Neil Duff wins this game 4-0, Jack Drayton will be on +7 legs difference. If
125.
Van den Herik
Jack Car, 90.
can win 4-0 or 4-1, he'll be within striking distance if he can get a big win against Drayton in the last game of the group. But this to level up at 1 apiece.
54.
Double 18 not found, but he's going to get time and space.
And we did say earlier on, Henry, didn't we? That if the other young Dutchman in Van Velzen was going to have an effect on the night, it could be
52.
profound. Because now we know that Van den Heerik's going to have to smash him.
Double 40, shall I say. However, he does like him straight down the pipe.
8.
So unable to get on that occasion.
Neil Car,
bit weird.
130.
There's been some strange happenings in the northeast corner of the board. Another 130 on the ball for today.
105.
Not quite.
Jack Car, 28.
So 2 14s to level the game up at 1 apiece. Down for 7s.
14.
Doesn't go. Duff
Neil
gets a
Car,
reprieve, gets a
25.
break opportunity.
That's very good.
9.
Fancied him for that
Johnny
third dart.
Carr,
I thought he was going to
14.
slot it in. Not to be.
Game show
That
the
one is
second leg, Jack
slotted.
Drayton.
Strange game so far, with some odd
Third leg, Neil
happenings.
through first. Game on.
Now, I believe, based on the amount of games we've seen from Drayton this week, by the end of tonight, he will have
100.
played 23 games of darts under this roof. His biggest campaign so far, because he played 19 games when he was winning his week.
100.
When you see so many games, you see tendencies. What are they good at? What are they not so good at? Where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? I do believe that on the left side of the board,
140.
something is going on with that young man. Everything from double 16 up to double 9. There's just something happening. Maybe he's not as strong on the
100.
left side as he is at the top and the right.
However, if we learned something about Jack over the course of the last few weeks or so, is he will move heaven and earth to make sure that is put right. And as we mentioned
60.
yesterday, he is still very new to this level. Only started playing the Dev Tour towards the back end of last year. He is fast-tracking himself to this kind of elite
100.
level within the sport.
There's fast tracking, and then there's a bullet train. And that's that young man from Thornton Cleveley's.
94.
Just another cab off the rank in Lancashire. What a county. Full of world-class players. Sneakily, I
60.
actually want him to stay at this
Nearly a
level
car,
for at least another 2
107.
years. Just to learn the trade a bit. And Neil's had another stray dart there, opening the door for Drayton, but this
43.
is not an easy shot.
Jack the car, 141.
Going to come back to that in the next leg. Drayton looking at 141 to get the break of foe. Starting down on the treble 17. And so Duff returning for 64 to
57.
get his nose
Nearly
in
a car,
front
64.
again. As you said a moment or two ago, strange contest so far.
24.
And
Jack the
Duff
car,
missed an
84.
opportunity to lead it again.
He does get a shot at the bull.
59. Near the
That
car,
one
40.
was a bit odd when it hit the board. It seemed to kick to the left. Two fives.
35.
I just wonder
Jack the
the
car,
amount
25.
of concentration and intensity that Duff's put into his first 2 games tonight. Is he having a tiny bit of a lull now?
2 eights. He's not liking that side of the ball whatsoever. He's had more joy over here.
Game
Much
shot
more
the third
joy.
leg, Jack
Drayton
Drayton.
breaks, leads 2-1. Going back to that
Fourth
point
leg,
you
Jack,
made
you through
about
first.
applying
Game
your
on.
trade and applying your trade well. As we know, Jack Drayton is in year 2 of a 4-year university course. Now, we've seen players in mainland Europe just take a bit of a step back before then kicking forwards before starting their professional career. Nico Springer, a great example of which, where
125.
he said, I'm going to wait until I finish my studies before I take the game on a more serious basis. Did that, played the Dev Tour, got his tour card, and now we've seen the effect of that.
140.
Jack's got a lot of decisions to make. If he is to continue doing well on the Dev Tour as to what that next step is. He's in year 2 of a 4 university course, as I say, a specialised university
59.
course. And at the age of 19, he may be put in a position where big decisions might have to be made in the not too distant future.
I don't think it's that hard. Do the course, stay at this level. By the time the course is over, he's going to be 23. Still a wee bairn, as they say, up in Scotland.
60.
Loads of time to learn your trade, get your studies done, be a qualified greenkeeper, be a PGA professional with your golf. Have some options. You don't have to box yourself in.
140.
Keep playing like this, Jack. You're welcome here any time, you old cocker.
He could win £75,000 a year here if he wants to.
Exactly.
6 weeks' work.
Talk about a well-paid hobby.
Be on half of your salary.
59. Near the car, 161.
Lovely dart. Fancies it? Okay.
125.
You mentioned the word serendipity. How about that for serendipity?
218s after 12 to level up
78.
at 2-2.
Near the car,
And
36.
to get the break back, which he lost in the previous. Should be able just to clink that off the
Game's
barrel.
on the
That is
fourth leg,
exactly
nil
what he
off.
does. Back on turns, 2-2. And actually, it's fair to say the
Big play,
games,
Neil to throw first.
aside from
Game
those that
on.
have involved Keanu Van Velzen this evening, have all been competitive affairs. Outside of those contests, everything's either been 4-2 or 4-3 this evening.
38.
Are you not excited yet? It's Saturday.
100.
It's finally here. We've waited 3 months
Neil's
for it.
not
It's
scored with
Saturday.
32.
Now, it's not finished yet. Still Group B. But today, our champion will be crowned. That's something to be excited about.
Yeah, come 11 o'clock this evening,
45.
somebody's going to be hoisting aloft the trophy. £25,000 in prize money, a place at the Global Championship come November. Could be that young man, or it could well
140.
be the coronation for the greatest player to have played here and not win a series title. And every metric suggests that Neil Duff is the greatest
85.
player we've ever had not to win a Champions Week. He's going to love me for saying that, not.
I think Steve West, if he's watching it right now, and he probably is,
55.
he's thinking, give me Series 40 and I'll show you.
I'm waiting for my phone to go off.
There's always been this friendly rivalry between West and Duff to see who gets
70.
that series title first. If Neil is crowned champion tonight, make no mistake, Derek Coulson and Steve West will be fired up to get a series title of
90.
their own in 2026. Because it's good to have these cabals of greatness, like tennis and golf and darts and snooker.
134. Jack the car,
But
116.
maybe the apple cart will be unsettled again, in the words of Scott Mitchell from week 11. Don't stay there, whatever you do. Go back up top. That'll work.
92. Near the car, 135.
To avoid being broken again, Neil Duff looks at the ball for 135. And
Game's on the
beds it
fifth leg, nil though.
beautifully. Well, that's some way to keep Jack
Six
Drayton
leg
at
chance to
bay.
throw
And the
first.
Duff man
Game
now
on.
a leg away from making it through to Champions Night again. That is seismic for the former world champ.
That's impressive is what it is. And very well measured. He knew that when he hit the 25, he had an open 60 target.
100.
But when he went back to the centre, he just needed to shuffle. And he measured it to perfection.
100.
We talked a lot about when he won Lakeside in 2022. Yeah, it's 4 years ago, this month,
Somehow.
when he was using Joe Cullen's
100.
darts, and he had a lot of success with them. But when he came here, he was talking about having an element of comfort with his
136.
grip, and he's gone with a dart that's a bit smaller. It's not scalloped, and it has more of a smoothed out point
55.
transition from the barrel to the end. Boy, is it working.
And for all the success that he's had here over the course of the last 4
79.
years or so, he's still waiting for that title, which is on a sort of footing akin to that Lakeside win. And this would be the one. The Champions Week would effectively be
58.
another major to add to the cabinet. And something to go alongside that World Championship win.
In the next 8 days, he could
100.
complete this place. Series title, international pairs, and he's won everything.
Well, only one player's completed the set before for weekly
140.
win, specials
Neil
week
the
win,
car,
and a
86.
Champions Week win. That player being Andreas Harrison. Neil Duff looking to emulate the great, hairy Swedish man. And he's looking to get himself into Champions Night
Game's
here.
on the match, Neil
Neil Duff is back into Champions Night. One of the great champions here is looking to get the one title that eludes him. He's back in the running to do exactly that tomorrow evening. He's qualified for Champions Night. And he does so by getting the better of Jack Drayton by 4 legs to 2. He's in. Who's going to join him? We'll find out in a few games' time. But Jermaine van den Herik against Keanu van Velzen, a big game in determining who it could be.
We have our finalists, and that is because before the break, Neil Duff getting a 4-2 win over Jack Drayton was significant in more ways than one. Duff getting the win sent himself through, but Jack Drayton, in getting 2 legs of his own, has done enough. He cannot be caught in the leg difference column by Jermaine van den Herik. So that is that. Stevenson, Duff, Drayton progress into Champions Night. So we are jostling for position between Duff and Drayton, and the countdown to Champions Night is on. Van den Herik playing for pride now, as is Keanu van Velzen. Keanu has had a rough old night at the Live Lounge in that he hasn't even won a leg tonight yet. And this is his final match of his Champions Week. But Henry, the mind wanders now to Champions Night. We have our lineup.
Yes. First things first, Jamai van den Herik unsuccessful in his attempt to make it through. Keanu van Velzen's hoping not to be legless in Portsmouth tonight. But now we know the 6, as you say, and
First leg, Jamai through first.
every player's got a different case, I think, this time around. You look at the 3 that come through Group B, Simon Stevenson. It's kind of got better as the week's gone along. Took a couple of days to get going, and once he did get going, he really did begin to hit the straps. Jack Drayton has just seemingly been fluid all week long. Neil Duff is Neil Duff around this place. Radek Zagansky had to ride a few scares early on this afternoon. Steve Green has looked imperious. As for Derek Coulson,
95.
he's looking to finally get his hands on the one piece of silverware that's eluded him in this building. It's set up beautifully. We're live tomorrow night,
60.
7:30 p.m. on 7 o'clock even on Pluto TV. Extended build-up.
I've been telling you all week, do not
33.
get caught out by that earlier start time.
Punctuality is not one of my strengths, Sam.
98.
Well, I asked you the question last night, who's your pick to lift the title? You tentatively suggested Jack Drayton, so the question now is stick or twist?
92.
I'm going to stick, which means Jack's going to lose both his games 4-0 tomorrow night, most likely now.
190.
Who will be to blame?
Jamai Carter, 146.
Just like everything around here, Sam, nothing changes.
Den Herik had first dibs at a finish, but now can just set it up.
96.
And Velzen had a
Keanu
chance,
Ricard, 164.
had a big one. Not there again, just looking to set it up.
94. Jamai Ricard, 50.
Double 16. Double 8. Doesn't
42.
go, and so Van Velzen returns to
Keanu
70.
Ricard, 70.
Looking for first leg of the night. He's only had one double all evening.
There's his second.
50.
It doesn't go.
Jamai Ricard, 8.
Everything has gone against him. These past 2 nights for Van Velzen, Van den Herik. 2 twos.
Finish on the first leg, Jamai van den
Dispatched
Herik.
for the opening leg. And Van Velzen's suffering
Second leg, Keanu to
continues.
throw first. Game on.
There's something about Group B and Jamai van den Herik that just don't wash. Didn't look convincing in this group last
140.
week despite making it through. Hasn't made it through this week. And I'm sure there was another occasion last year where he was found wanting in this group as well.
58.
There's something about playing at this time of day that just doesn't click for the young man.
Yeah, that group
93.
you were referencing, he was alongside the likes of Yee and Van der Velde, Gary Stone. Tough old group, and yet Jamai was still one of the favourites to progress out of
93.
it, which he just simply could not do.
And there's reasons why we're given the big billing. He won 4 PDC titles last year, 2 Challenge Tours, 2
42.
Dev Tours, appeared at the World Championship as a result.
Yeah, on that Challenge Tour last year, he was ploughing in averages over 110 for fun.
58.
And was making it look so easy in doing so.
I remember speaking to him last week, and he said one of the things he's found difficult is replicating that success of last year, because it was a
59.
breakthrough year for Jamai 2025. And one of the hardest things to do is replicate things that have gone well before. And that really is the separation of the good from the greats. Doing good stuff
58.
on a
Keanu Ricard,
consistent basis,
167.
year in, year out. And he's just going through that discovery of playing at the highest level and
139.
continuing to pick up good results as Van Velzen looks at double 14. Going to get another couple to get that elusive leg on the board.
89. Keanu Ricard, 28.
Come on then, Keanu. Let's have this one. Something to work with.
No score. Jamai Ricard, 145.
You could tell this is becoming a rather full-on task for Keanu now. If you could give him a tap-out button, he would press it. Oh, this would just hurt. That would have been just sheer cruelty.
135. Keanu Car 28.
Interesting. Van Velzen returns for another shot at double 14.
Gain shot in the second
There
leg,
we go,
Van
Keanu.
Velzen.
A celebration to boot. And a fist bump
Third
from
leg,
Paul
Jamaica
Hinks.
through
That's
first.
worth anyone's
Game
night.
on.
That's made his night.
$85.
Oh, the smile on the face now of Van Velzen.
96.
Tough going. We've seen players endure some pretty tough times this week. You think back to
58.
Nathan Potter, who was luckless pretty much since the end of Monday's play.
96.
Keanu has suffered even more darting brutality.
It's tough at the top. You know what they say, setbacks lead for get-backs. And I just hope Jamai uses this experience as a fuel to the fire as he
43.
continues his 2026 campaign. Dev Tour next weekend. That'll be the next challenge for him ahead. Well, to try and get up that order of merit. Top
138.
two, remember, get a tour card come the end of the year. The top three will get a spot of the World Championship at Alexandria Palace in December, looking to return for a
96.
second consecutive year.
Jamaica Car 40.
And he's looking at tops here to go 2-1-2 the good.
Gain shot on the third leg, Jamaica
Not a
Van
bother.
Herik.
Den Herik back in front.
Fourth leg, Keanu to throw
Match
first. Game on.
In good spirits, as we saw towards the back end of Group C this afternoon. And indeed, on Wednesday in Group A.
134.
Not a bad egg amongst the 12 we've had in this Champions Week.
Yeah, it's been a fun watch this week. Comes to its crescendo in
81.
19 hours' time, or the beginning of the crescendo being 19 hours' time anyway. 23 hours' time.
85.
Someone's going to have to hoover up some confetti. I heard you said you'd charge extra to do it, Sam.
96.
Yeah.
Pennies are pennies, pal.
99.
Oh, Van Velzen. Stepping across, persevering with the 20s.
One of them 40.
Neatly done.
$96. Keanu
Rounds
Car
off his
46.
score with a nice covering treble 19. Van Velzen for his second leg of the night.
Gain shot on the
There
fourth
we go,
leg.
he's on a roll.
Keanu Van Velzen.
2-2.
Fifth leg, Jamaica through first. Game on.
Could have had to go where
101.
credit's due for Keanu because, okay. A couple of legs on the board, and it could have so easily
58.
gone into this game thinking, right, this has not gone to plan. It's been a horrific night, and it could have so easily have folded. But credit goes where credit's due. He's picked up a couple of legs, back on level terms
One of
he
them
is.
40. $85.
And look, we said at the beginning of the night that objective number one probably would have been to have got 2 points on the board. He's got as good a chance as any point in this group to do exactly that.
You were saying?
80.
80 left after 9. Because of the space he's got, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes tops here,
81.
Jamai.
Jamaica
Saw this earlier
80.
on. Could potentially go treble 16, double 16 as well.
Well,
40.
He's tidied it up in the end. Didn't exactly go completely to plan. Van Velzen.
140. Jamaica car 40.
There or thereabouts, but Van Den Herik tops away from 3-2. 10's away. 5's away.
30.
Long way away.
Yellow car 137.
Well, this would be a KVV showstopper. What's the MO, KVV? The MO was tops. But if Jack Drayton was behind him, he'd be saying 4 left.
79. Jamaica car 10.
What, double 2? Van Den Herik splitting.
Show on the
Sensible
fifth
ball
leg, Jamal
management,
Van Den
and
Herik.
it's proved profitable.
6 leg Keanu to throw first. Game on.
The problem Jamai's got as well is he's not just playing 1 dead rubber, he's got to play 2 because he's got to still play Jack Drayton in the final game of the night. So he's going to have a lot of festering
58.
feelings going on that hockey. Because the other thing as well is it's not as if he can bump up another place. He's going to finish 4th regardless of what happens. He's stuck in a
99.
darting purgatory.
Yeah, perfectly put. 4th
57.
place in Group B. So close yet so far. Just hasn't quite been able to do enough tonight as Jamal
134.
threatened to. Battled against Duff in what he knew full well would have been his biggest match of this
57.
evening, but experienced Duff man, again, not for the first time, found a way.
$58.
And a potential that Simon Stevenson and Neil Duff could play each other in back-to-back matches, because if Simon finishes top and Neil finishes 3rd, they'll play in
59.
their opening matches later on this evening.
$123.
Well, Van Den Herik coming clear. Van Velzen has to stay there. Steps across. Right the way across.
60. Jamaica car 87.
And now Van Den Herik can wrap it up from here.
So he starts to get a win,
55.
and it'll mean that KVV's Champions Week trip will end up being pointless.
$140. Jamaica car 32.
Double 16 then for the match. In this Dutch darting duel,
Game show on the
it has
match,
been
Jamai
won
Van Den Herik.
by Jamai Van Den Herik. Keanu Van Velzen finishes without a win in his Champions Week. It's been tough going for Keanu. Jamai Van Den Herik wins the Dutch battle in a Dutch dead rubber. Average just shy of 90. Stevenson takes on Duff after the break.
16 world titles, 4 decades of dominance, the greatest the sport of darts has ever seen. Phil Taylor, the power, a legend. A walk down memory lane. The rivals, the battles, the moments that defined an era. And now, for the first time, watch Phil, watch himself. His greatest moments on screen with the legend alongside them giving his own commentary as it happens. We've never done this before. Saturday the 25th of April at the Modus Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Tickets just £10. The power through the years. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. There's not many tickets left. Get involved. Come on down to the Live Lounge here in Portsmouth on Saturday the 25th of April for a walk down memory lane with Phil, the Power Taylor. 2 more live matches left to bring you from Group B in this Champions Week of Series 13 in the Modus Super Series, live and free on Pluto TV. Simon Stevenson against Neil Duff is the first of those. Both men will be back here tomorrow night in Champions Night, bidding to win the series title and the £25,000 prize. Stevenson has been rock solid all week. Duffman, typically determined. And I'd put it to you, Paul Nicholson, this is the best Neil Duff we've seen in a Champions Week so far. And he's been in a fair few of them.
That wasn't a question, was it? That was a statement. And I would have to concur. I think he's been measured aggressive. I think he's been
100.
focused. And when things were very tough, he remained resolute. Sometimes we have accused Neil of not being able to get a strong start when he comes straight into the secondary group. Sometimes he needs the first 3 days to get warmed up. Whatever he's done leading up to this, it's worked pretty well because he's in good shape. And that dream of winning the series title is very much alive. But if he wants to win this group, he's going to have to beat Stevenson by 4-1 or 4-0. Neither player has lost tonight. And that is to their credit.
50.
Immense credit. Stevenson running through the card in Group A on Wednesday, finishing second in that group to Derek Coulson.
I'm going to ask you a question. If Stevenson wins this game, he's the only person this week who will complete
131.
2 cards in the week, Wednesday and Friday. Does that then make him the favourite?
140. 740.
Well, let's let him hit this tops first.
Getting shot on the first
There
leg,
you go.
Simon Stevenson.
There is definitely an argument to say yes.
Second leg Neil did through first. Game on.
However, with my bookmaking hat on, Coulson was favourite at the start of the week. He won Group A. He has to stay favourite.
68.
But the way he's played over the last couple of nights, there could be some punters out there thinking, do you know what, I think he might be the guy.
Wouldn't put you off.
Like you said in the past, 7 people have won Group B in Champions Week and gone on to win the title. Nobody has ever won it from B2. The second position in this secondary group has never won the title. And if Stevenson gets one more leg,
140.
Duff is going to finish second. He could create 2 bits of history.
So we know Jack Drayton is the pick of Henry
96.
Deacon. You've been flirting with the idea of Simon Stevenson all week. Can I now push you for a proper answer for your pick for Champions Night?
100.
I thought it was Derek at the start. I'm not going to deviate. Because the biggest thing for me is that he got what he wanted, which is the 2 days off.
Samuel Carr, 121.
By the way, if Duff loses this game, second position is not guaranteed. Double 14.
107.
Drayton
Carr,
can still
112.
get second position if he wins the last game against Jamai. It's all dependent.
96. Samuel Carr, 14.
Double 7 to double the lead. Just floated over the top. And again.
No score.
He found the middle.
16.
To bring himself level.
Each on the second leg, Neil Duff.
Quick as a flash. Nice and simple.
Third leg, Simon to throw first. Game on.
Just to hold. Opportunity missed from Stevenson to break.
100.
If Duff wins the title tonight, he'll be thinking, can we play all of the big tournaments in April? He won Lakeside in April in 2022.
40.
Must be something about spring.
So he is a spring chicken after all.
Maybe he is.
137.
I think it is about legacy when you get to a certain age. However,
140.
these guys aren't too far apart in years. One guy is looking for legacy. The other one is looking for that title that may define his
60.
career. Neil's already got that, if we may be frank, by winning Lakeside 4 years ago. If he never wins a series, he will be defined by winning
100.
Lakeside. How is Simon defined? He isn't. He's a great player from Plymouth. Made the quarters of the UK Open once. That's his legacy so far. But that might be changing in about 22 hours' time.
One of them 40. Samuel Carr, 24.
2 12s then to edge back ahead. Now, by Simon Stevenson's standards that he has set himself this week, all of those three were wayward. And Duff now can pinch it.
69.
Graze the wire.
Samuel Carr,
Misses
12.
as good as a mile. You've just seen it from both players. It's far enough away for it to be a marker. But you've got to go the other side. There you have it.
On the third leg, Simon
Sometimes
Stevenson.
you can be too close with how your dart setup
Fourth leg,
is.
Neil to throw first.
With Simons, if he's going side to side, he's better off having it about half to a full centimetre away than right on the wire.
60.
One thing we should do right now is just take in how quiet this place is. Local
58.
time, 12:40 in the morning. Look at that floor out there with the Modus Super Series sign all over the place.
One of them 40.
What we will see from 7 o'clock tonight, live on Pluto TV, is nothing but people. And people who all want to know the same
123.
thing. Who's going to win?
Yeah, handful of tickets available left for our night with Phil Taylor. A
60.
few tickets left for our International Pairs Week finals night next Saturday. No tickets left for Champions Night. It's a sellout.
There never is.
100.
It's the night that sells out the quickest. Because everybody wants to see that trophy in the air and they want to see the person who does that. They want to see moments of
100.
history.
One of them 40. Neil Carr, 141.
Trying to leave tops. But the shot is on for Duff, man. Double 18. He was going for the old school
123.
John
Samuel
Lowe
Carr,
141.
Stevenson to edge ahead even further. One at tops.
60. Nearly car 18.
He might like 9s because it's on the left. Even he has to scooch.
No score.
Too
Sammy
high.
car 20.
Stevenson laps
shot the fourth
up the
flag.
chance
Simon
gifted
Stevenson.
to him by Neil Duff.
Fifth leg Simon to throw
They
first.
turn
Game on.
back around to serve this match out.
It really does look like he's going to win Group B.
100.
So let's go through the Group B winners that have won the title. Conan Whitehead, Series 1. Luke Littler,
41.
Series 4. Scott Taylor, Series 6. Darius Labanauskas, Series 9.
60.
Jeff Smith, Series 11. Plenty of big names there.
One of them, 40.
Not even reading out the people that have won Group B and didn't. I mean, Sam Spivey, for example, in Series 10, made the final after winning Group B. Lost out to Jensen Walker just about a year ago.
85.
And not many people at all have attained 14 points in a Group B campaign. That's what Stevenson is so close to doing. Only Littler and Pilgrim have done that in the history of this event. It has not happened
60. Nearly
since
car
Series
140.
5. That's how good Stevenson's been.
$100.
Set it up nicely. The names on that trophy. Players of youth, Littler, Walker, Mamby. Players of experience,
140.
Harrison,
Nilka, 40.
Labanauskas, Smith.
$30. Simon the car 56.
Not many players more experienced than these two. And Stevenson can end it.
Game shot
The
on
group
match,
is
Simon
his.
Stevenson.
And maybe the signs are that Simon Stevenson is boiling up to something. Neil Duff doesn't know if he's finished second in the group so far. If he slips to third, he might be in the same group as Stevenson on Champions Night. 4 legs to 1 with one more game to go after the break.
Welcome back to Champions Week here at the Modus Super Series. I'm back in the studio with a couple of qualifiers for Champions Night. Simon Stevenson winning Group B, and Neil Duff doesn't know yet whether he's finished second or third. But Neil, the most important thing is you've made it through.
That's it. It's not about how you get there, it's get there. And I've kind of made it my ethos down here. So I'll be honest, I didn't come in with a lot of confidence seeing the group. I knew what the players were capable of, but I'd done the business tonight and got across the line and regroup, go tomorrow night.
You've certainly done that. Simon, you've won the group. Congratulations. You've played magnificently all week, really. This is the first time you've had to play a full week. How have you enjoyed the experience so far?
It's a little bit different, obviously, playing Group A, coming in early in the morning, playing, and then obviously Group B is late in the evening, trying to adjust to that. But yeah, obviously I can't moan because I've done it.
You certainly have, and now attention turns to the big one, Champions Night. And it's, again, like I spoke to you earlier in the week, it's so easy to forget that you won your debut week here, and this is only your second time in this building, and here you are. You could have your name on the trophy.
Yeah, it's anybody's night really on a Saturday. We all can play really, really well and taking chances when you can. But just happy to be here really, and just have a chance of getting the trophy.
And Neil, I don't think anyone wants it more than you. We always speak about legacy.
It's the only thing I'm missing. It's the only thing that I haven't put my hands on yet. But listen, Saturday night you go out there, it doesn't matter what you've done all week. So it's a fresh night. I'll be scared of no one. It would be lovely to hold that up tomorrow night. Just kind of ticks the last box.
I was making the point in commentary with Henry and Nico that I don't think, despite all the weeks you played it, however many weeks you won here, I don't think you've been scoring as well as you've done these last two nights. The scoring power has really been there.
Yeah, it has, but if I could hit a double, it'd be brilliant. My doubles have been not been great, and even it felt tonight like it was just on the wire with every dart, which could have sent results different ways. But I've been kind of working on my scoring, just trying to pick the tempo up a bit, get more rhythm going, and get the first dart right and follow through. But found tonight I was kind of drifting into a lot of fives, and that needs to stop. Yeah.
And Simon, you yourself again have all the experience in the world, and playing a sixth consecutive day shouldn't really faze you, should it?
I wouldn't say that, but I'll just carry on as I normally do. Just try and obviously win games and keep them straight. And like Neil says, hitting a double makes a hell of a difference to it at first time. But yeah, again, just happy to be here. Just want to.
Simon has been amazing all week. Now he's just been relentless on them treble 20s. He's a joy to watch, even as a player sitting in the players' room and you're watching him, and he doesn't do treble his visits, and he's hitting one, he's hitting two, and it makes him hard to play against. I maybe could have got the better of him last night, but let that one slip. But hey ho, we go again.
We all go again tomorrow night. Gentlemen, thank you very much for talking to me. Back to the commentary box we head to now for the final game of Group B.
Cheers, Sam. Nico's alongside me for this one as Jack Drayton and Jamai Den Herik go head-to-head. For Jack, he will play on another night and play for the biggest jackpot of his career so far. For Jamai, this is the end of the road for him as far... Getting manhandled in the commentary box.
I think Neil Duff is rather happy that he's made his way through to Champions Night. And he's just had a little interference with the commentary box. And we're just going to give Henry Deacon a little bit of a chance to compose himself.
Let's take Jack to through first.
As they've just passed through, both Neil and Simon. Let's focus on the last game because there is something on this. Jack, if he wins, he gets himself into what we call B2. Second position in Group B. And that actually would
93.
get him out of a group on Saturday night with Duff and Stevenson. Any benefit in that, really? Or not really?
I'm just glad I didn't swear there, to be
46.
perfectly honest with you, Nico. How to end a career in a couple of seconds. Anyway, we mentioned at the beginning of this group yesterday
100.
evening that this could be a meeting between players that ply their trade at the very top of this sport for many years to come. And those sentiments are still echoed, even if these two are going in
90.
different directions. Jemai van den Herik will be departing us after this game. Jack Drayton will play on another day for the big check, which we were mentioning before we were
98.
rudely interrupted. I think that's going on the bingo card at the end of the year, Nico.
65.
Yeah, I think your new nickname is Mr. Tickle.
Don't, I'm so ticklish.
Well, there you have it then.
I never thought I'd ever say that live on air.
You'll never see that on the hockey either.
100.
That would be classed as interference. Well, Drayton actually qualified tonight via not throwing a dart.
90. Jack car 110.
See, that's the way you do it. Let somebody else get the job done for you.
Don't work hard, work smart, Nico.
Well, he did enough, and then
59.
a result got him through.
$56. Jack car 51.
This has got to be 11 tops. He's definitely stronger on tops than 16s. If he
Getting on the
leaves
first
that
day,
enough,
Jack Drayton.
come tonight, he would be just
Second,
another
Jemai through
young
first.
buck
Game on.
story. Just like Manby. Oh, we can see you.
59.
Yes, you. He might not have been around for long, but he knows all the tricks. Still not as good as Whitehead.
140.
Well, if the darts don't work out, he's got a secondary job as somebody that can scare people at Halloween. Dress them up in a costume and stare at people.
To be honest,
44.
Henry, there's been a very vociferous conversation recently within the world of darts podcasts, because there's a lot of them now,
81.
talking about characters in this sport and how there aren't as many as there used to be. Hang on a minute. Dig a little deeper. We do have some on the development tour.
134.
I think we should allow them to develop into characters, because I think we've got one in Drayton.
So what you're saying is Jack Drayton's winning some aura points here.
140.
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is he's maybe not flamboyant, but he's got
100.
that level of
Yellow card,
confidence that
140.
people will like to watch.
Trying to nestle away through the middle.
60.
Unable to do so.
Jemai car 164.
Has Jemai got something special up his sleeve?
He's
89.
done that a few times this
Car
week,
80.
trimming a 164 down.
$60.
Well, I spy with my
Jemai
little
car
Jemai
75.
something beginning with D. Let's see if I'm right. Double.
Getting shown the second leg.
Right
Jemai
there.
van den Herik. Third leg Jack, you throw
And
first.
so we're
Game
back at an equilibrium. 1-1.
180.
Okay. So you start with a maximum. One thing missing from the week, and he's got a smile on his face. What is next?
60.
A 1. He's trying to engage with his opponent. That is not the norm. As if to say, did you
81.
see that? Did you see that one that I just hit? It's like being on the tee, hitting your tee shot. You lose it in the sunlight and you turn to your playing partner. Did you catch
100.
that? Did you see where that went? He's definitely got personality, and I think that is very welcome in this game.
182.
And it's all very authentic. Well, I think there's been players in the past, or in the not too distant past, that maybe you can make an accusation that they've almost forced their personality a little bit. There's an authenticity about Jack. I'll tell you what, there's been some falls here.
20.
And that's another 4. 4 high.
Yeah, 4 high is no good in poker.
57. Jack the car, 40.
Tops after 12 again. Whoops. Double 15.
25.
That hasn't gone well. Now, what does Van
Jack
den
the
Herik
car,
do with 150? Even that pragmatic young man fancied 3 bulls.
Jack the car, 15.
So this is a 2-1. And this is almost being played to exhibition type frivolities as Drayton looks at double
7.
4 and able to get, and so Van den Herik for 2-1. Now, Jemai Van den Herik can have as much fun as he wants, but Jack Drayton here won't want to be messing about in this game, because if he loses it, he's got to play Simon Stevenson and Steve Green in his group tomorrow night. And I'm sure all the fun he's having now won't feel that way if he's got to play 2 of the main protagonists tomorrow night. Let's get that right.
And he knows all of the capabilities of Steve Green because they play a lot together. They're county teammates.
Sorry for being
100.
stroppy, Nico, but that's just the point.
It was a fair point. There's nowhere to turn on Saturday night in Champions Week where you think things are going to be easy.
23.
If he's in a group with Stevenson and with Green, so be it.
180.
If he's not, he's in a group with Sagansky and Coulson. Where would you rather be? There's nowhere to turn. What Neil was saying to Sam in the break, it's not about how you get there.
82.
It's just get there, and then you've just got to be the best.
Well, he doesn't really do too much. That's why he tries to go
140.
blind.
Jamaica car, 139.
He's never going to do that with a tee shot because he missed the ball.
Yep. He'll be clubbed wide into the bushes.
99.
That's a very nice 99. Could be a nice 3-1 lead as well. It was Jack that came out of the blocks and started playing well, but
81.
he stuttered.
Jamaica car,
1
40.
out of 10 on doubles.
So this to go 3-1 to the good.
Game shown the fourth leg, Jamaica
3-1 it is to Jemai Van den Herik.
Fifth leg, Jackson through first.
It's nice to see Jemai smiling. Some people finishing 4th in the table would be cursing themselves, saying, why me, why now, why not Saturday night? But he's not built that way. He's 99% positivity.
Let me go full circle on you, Nico. Jemai Van den Herik wins this game. He finishes on 8 points. Level with Jack Drayton. But what's let him down is the legs difference. The result from
99.
this fixture last night was Jack Drayton 4, Jemai Van den Herik 0.
You will not find one person within this sport
97.
in the world who can disagree with that. It all comes down to the first game of the group. We can easily
47.
sit here and question whether coming first thing on the Thursday was the right play. Should he have been here Wednesday night? But the thing is, he made his decision,
134.
and he didn't exactly have a bad time of it on Thursday night. So, as much as we can point our fingers to game one,
100.
we can point our fingers at lots of situations through the week.
You can paint a narrative however you want to paint a
60.
narrative. The reality of the situation is Jack Drayton's going to be here tomorrow night. Van Den Herik isn't. But he could finish off a win here. And if he does, it means that Jack Drayton's got to play
59.
Simon Stevenson
Jamaica,
and Steve Green in a group tomorrow
128.
night.
That puts pay to that. That's a lovely pick-off.
78.
Look how he lobbed that over the top of the blocker.
38.
You have to be about 6'6" to do that.
What are you going to do, Jemai?
58.
What are you
Jamaica,
going to
50.
do? He's going to go pragmatic.
Getting shot
And
on
get the
match,
double
Jamaica, Van Den
16
Herik.
and seal a 4-1 win over Jack Drayton, who's going to finish this group in third place. It means he's going to have to play Simon Stevenson and Manet Sagansky in his group tomorrow night at Champions Night. But Jamai Van Den Herik, you get the sense his time will come again. It just didn't quite work out for him this time around. So that is the group stage action complete at Champions Week 13. The next time we reconvene, somebody is going to be lifting the trophy under the confetti. But before that, we've got reaction, analysis, thoughts and observations from the Pluto TV studio. And that is coming up next.
And there we have it. We have our Champions Night lineup. The last couple of results proving big for the likes of Neil Duff and Simon Stevenson. Combine that with Jack Drayton's strong leg difference, sees those three through, along with Green, Zagansky and Coulson. Final table. Stevenson wins it with 14 points. Duff up to 10. Drayton in the end on 8 with +6 in the leg difference column. It's Den Herik and Velzen that miss out. Welcome back to the studio. Paul Nicholson has rejoined me along with our final qualifier for Champions Night, Jack Drayton. Jack, congratulations. It's been a long week for you so far, but you've made it.
Yeah, I didn't make it easy for myself, to be honest. Obviously, I've got through with the leg difference. So I think the first couple of games in the group with obviously Jamai and Van Velzen, Sam Stevenson all beating them 4-0. I think that obviously bumped my leg difference up, which obviously is always going to be the decider this week, because obviously every single player is really, really good and it's going to be tight whichever group you're in.
Nico, we hear it so often. It doesn't matter how you do it, just get to Saturday, and he's done it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Jack's got a 100% record on Saturdays, so going into that tonight, he'll feel full of confidence. And we were saying it on Thursday night, just before the first start was thrown by this young man, that 8 points was never a guarantee of success. It's now 4 series. From the last 4 series, we've had someone on 8 points who hasn't qualified. So it just goes to show how difficult it is just to make it through in a group like this.
Jack, much like Simon Stevenson, it's easy to forget that this is the first time you're going to have to play a full week. On debut here, you won Group A, converted it into that weekly win, and here you are. How have you coped?
I mean, the fame of it has been like a shock, because obviously I've had messages of people saying well done and stuff, people I don't even know. But to get this far in a short space of time is impressive to myself anyway. Yeah, I just want to try to get the job done tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. Of course, it doesn't stop there. Tomorrow is a huge night. Look at the names on this trophy. £25,000 to play for. Will this be the biggest night potentially of your fledgling career so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is the biggest week of my career anyway so far. And then obviously to make it to Saturday is probably one of the biggest few games I'm gonna have. Obviously, I think it tops the development tour with the Ironman as well. They were good tournaments to win, but I think this is going to be the peak of my career so far. So hopefully I can get it done.
Well, you'll be interested in this as we can now confirm the groups for Champions Night. Nico, I'll start with you. Just before we get to that, though, I'm teasing you. I'm making you wait. Let's confirm the breakdown. Coulson wins Group A. Stevenson, Duff, Drayton make it through Group B. Steve Green and Radek Zagansky make it through a dramatic Group C. So, let's see those groups for Champions Night. Group 1. Derek Coulson, the Group A winner, along with Neil Duff and Radek Zagansky. Jack, you're in with Simon Stevenson and Steve Green, who you know very well. In fact, Jack, I'll get your reaction to that first.
I mean, it's probably a bonus that me and Steve are in the same group, because we've got a chance of getting each other in the final, which I think a lot of people back home really want. But I'm glad he's made it to finals night, because he deserves every bit of it. You know, he's put the hard work in since he got the Modus qualifier back home, and I can't wait to share the stage with him at such a prestigious venue.
So Nico, in that group too, Simon Stevenson is going to feel ganged up on a little bit, I think.
Wouldn't be for the first time this week. Let's face it, he hasn't been the favourite in a lot of people's eyes, but things have changed over the last 5 days. He is the danger man. He has won this group, and lots of people who have won Group B in the past have gone on to become champion. But in group number 1, you've got Coulson up against Duff. They've won pretty much everything here apart from this. They will want it badly. And I refuse to let Radek Zagansky go under the radar because of what he's done over the last 24 hours. He will not be fancied to make it through that group, but be expecting him to try and upset the apple cart.
Do you allow yourself to watch the other groups? Obviously, it's still sort of new to you all, I guess. And did you just cast a little eye over to Group C?
I mean, again, I only really watched it because of Steve and Scott Taylor, obviously good friends back home, so I'm going to be cheering them on whatever, but it's going to be all to play for, you know. Obviously, Steve, I wish him all the best for Saturday night, but, I mean, no disrespect, but as soon as we get on that hockey, there's no friends.
Absolutely. But on Steve, who was unheralded, unfancied a little bit coming into this week, but you knew that was a load of rubbish, really. You knew about his quality.
Yeah, I'd seen it from the first time he come here. You know, he's been class. You know, he was class back at home. He's class here. You know, and his career definitely isn't going to stop. Like from what I've seen, especially this week as well. You know, going was it 10-2, I think, something like that. Yeah, his career's not going to stop here. He'll definitely, if it's not tomorrow, he'll definitely we'll lift that trophy one day.
Nico, it has all the hallmarks to be an absolute classic of a Champions Night.
Yeah, we're going to be packed in here. There's not one ticket to be had. People will be queuing up outside this place in anticipation for when the show goes live at 7 o'clock. And there will be people essentially wandering around this end of Portsmouth waiting to watch the first dart thrown by Derek Coulson on Saturday night. When we first had our Champions Night with Conan Whitehead winning against Graham Usher, we looked around this place and we didn't even have this gantry right now. We were standing on a balcony looking around this place and we thought, this is what this place can do? And if you've never been here for a Champions Night, just wait. This atmosphere, it's great on Saturday nights, don't get me wrong. But when Jack is here on Saturday night, it's different. It's really different because the anticipation is right there from the fans, the players, everybody involved, and the atmosphere is thick and it's hot and it's fantastic. I can't wait for it. Great field as well.
And Jack, finally from you, you see names like Luke Littler and Charlie Manby etched onto that trophy. Young players at the time using it as a stepping stone to really launch their career. I'm guessing that's something you hope to emulate.
Yeah, obviously just look at where Littler and Manby are now and obviously how far Jensen is in his career as well. So hopefully if I lift that trophy tonight, then I should hopefully go down the same path as what they're doing. And again, it'll be a big boost in my career and in my confidence as well to try to get to the top one day.
Jack, congratulations for qualifying for Champions Night. Best of luck tomorrow. Nico, thank you for your company this week, and we'll see you again tomorrow as well. Still, plenty more to come, as always, on the Modus Super Series channel here on Pluto TV. Coming up after the break, we have the preview show for next week's third renewal of the International Pairs, and we are live 7 o'clock UK time for Champions Night. Who will end the night lifting that trophy as Series 13 champion? International Pairs itself gets underway Monday at 9:30 a.m. And as always, we are Saturday finals night for that International Pairs renewal. The field is set. 12 have been whittled down to 6, and you can make a case for all 6. Join us 7 p.m. here from the Live Lounge in Portsmouth for what could well prove to be an absolute classic of a Champions Night. Could it be Jack Drayton? Could it be Derek Coulson? Could it be Neil Duff, Steve Green, Radek Zagansky? Or will it be Simon Stevenson? Join us. Do not miss it. Good night.
I think it was fired in by Robin Hood from Nottingham.
Well, 6 breaks of throw in this game, but the one hold might come at the very last. Simon Stevenson has a match start at double 16.
Couple of occasions last night, the old 116 did Duff, man. I'm getting deja vu now. Neil Duff, 116.
To avoid being broken again, Neil Duff looks at the ball for 135. And bends it beautifully. Looking to get himself into Champions Night here.
Stevenson can end it.
The group is his.
Keanu, Van, Velzen, Radek, Saganski,
Judge Cooper, Graham Hall,
Scott Taylor!
Neil Duff! Nathan Porter!
Jack Drayton!
Chaz Faster!
Simon Stevenson, Jamai van Den Herik.
He will be disappointed with that. He wanted to have one dart.
requires 20.
Graham Usher wins the first game of Champions Night, and it was an absolute ripper. He hit one of them on tops. He missed one on double 12. Which one is it? It's the hit!
Outside opportunity for Andy Hamilton. Van der Velde should be getting a match start again here. He's already had one. Mr. Dart at tops for the match to win 4-1. And the Dart at double 16 gets the job done there for Jurgen van der Velde. He gets over the line with a 4-2.
Did he go over the tops, or did he just overshoot the single? Jimmy doesn't care. Jimmy just looks to eat this up to make the semi-finals for the second time. Adam Gablas has been eliminated. Keep us guessing. This time he's trying to leave double 18. He knows best, and he takes the lead. He's 2 darts away
requires 86.
from a Super Series final. He's 1 dart away. He doesn't need any more darts. Jeff Smith makes the Series 11 final. Is Usher losing his cool a little bit here?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, I'd say the head's gone. And you don't have long to recover. It is very, very short format darts. Vansky's halfway to victory.
He only needs 1 more. Jimmy Vansky is yet again into a Modus Super Series final.
Flashback vibes. Can Jimmy Vansky do the same? Just needs the 1 treble here on the 19s. Finds it. For the ball.
101.
Oh, unlucky. A lot of pressure on it. He's going to split it. 2 darts for double 4 for the match.
Game.